That name mutters the tutorial examiner. A newbie strolls up. The examiner opened his mouth to give his boring speech, but bam. The moment those goblins spawned, the kid just blitzed past and chopped their ugly heads off in one clean swing. The examiner's jaw hit the floor. Who is this monster? Today's supposed to be the newbie qualification exam, and so far every candidate has been absolute trash. They cry, they panic, and they can barely scratch a basic green mob, let alone survive a simple 2-on-1 fight. Heck, the last guy literally wet his pants and rage quit. The absolute peak performance today only hit round 20. So, what on earth is happening right now? In 60 seconds flat, the arena is a literal goblin graveyard. This crazy kid is speed-running the stages so fast the system is sweating. His blade dances with a terrifying, absolute zero-chill precision. This is straight-up Grandmaster tier. Suddenly stage 49 triggers. The arena quakes and cracks open. But wait, pause the hype train. Who exactly is our overpowered protagonist? Plot twist, he used to be the world's absolute #1 ranker and guildmaster. So why did his elite squad end up as floor decorations while he was bleeding out at death's door? Well, he had this blonde bestie named Kyojo for 10 whole years. He even gifted that snake a mega rare legendary shield just to keep his fragile ego safe during a suicide raid on floor 8. But the moment the final boss dropped and our main character Narukami rushed in to tank it, Kyojo and his fanboys smirked. Boom. The ultimate backstab opportunity to dethrone the #1 guild had just presented itself. While the main team was busy fighting for their lives, and the adorable party healer was casting her heart out, this blonde rat sneaked up and cold-bloodedly ganked her. Seriously, why betray humanity's greatest hope when the actual world is ending? Let us rewind 10 short minutes to find out. Kyoji was literally throwing a tantrum, screaming about how much he despised being carried. He hated living in the massive shadow of Narukami's overpowered Blue Eyes guild. Today, I become the main character, thought the blonde bozo. But spoiler alert, he wasn't ready for Karma's absolute wrath. Clang, a dumpster lid flies off and our hero crawls out of the actual trash, wondering if he's back on Earth. Meet Hasoi Subaru, currently a pathetic level 1. He's flooded with memories of bullies, calling him a cheap dollar store knockoff of the legendary Subaru who died 20 years ago. He checks the hunter web only to find his old Blue Eyes guild somehow still kicking, preaching about inheriting his heroic legacy. And the guy spewing that PR garbage, the backstabbing blonde rat Kyojo himself. The target for the greatest payback is locked in, but our boy is currently stuck at level 1. Meanwhile, his nemesis has 20 years of free farming and extreme power leveling. Still, Subaru swears on his life he'll make that traitor choke on his own ego and remember who the true alpha is. But how do you punch the literal god of the Hunter Association? Well, Blonde Boy's jealousy runs deep. Flashback to that final boss raid. When the monster unleashed its ultimate screen-wiping roar attack, Narukami literally swatted it away like a pesky fly. While the whole squad showered the guildmaster with hard eyes, Kyojo was foaming at the mouth with toxic envy. The very second he shish kebabbed the sweet healer and laughed like a comic book villain, Subaru was getting absolutely hammered by the boss. It seemed like Kyojo just snapped from an inferiority complex. But wait, plot twist. If we rewind again, we find out this blonde snake had previously quit the main squad, claiming he had some super secret grind set strategy to get stronger. Spoiler. His master plan was just assassinating the boss. Anyway, back to the present. How does a level 1 shrimp deep fry the world's strongest hunter? Phase 1. Stalk his old guildmates. He sneaks into his own memorial service, watching fanboys sob in cosplay masks. But wait, what's that? There's a mystical, glowing flower perched on his fake tombstone. He snatches it like a loot drop, instantly recognizing the magical signature of his old party member. Right before he bit the dust 20 years ago, he popped a massive wind spell to blast his squad's bodies to absolute safety. So miraculously, they might actually be breathing. But big question, are they still the homies, or did they switch teams? Charging in as a weakling is a guaranteed game over. Before sliding into their DMs, our boy needs his legendary stats back. He grips his rusty blade because the brutal newbie tutorial kicks off in 2 days. Honestly, the only upside to the blonde rat surviving is that Subaru gets the supreme joy of punching his face in. Boom, back to the present exam. The second he triggers stage 49, the whole arena violently shakes. The ground shatters. The bald examiner screams at him to flee. Did this NPC really forget he was watching the incarnate god of war? A massive, steroid-pumped Goblin King spawns absolutely raging over his slaughtered green brethren. Baldy begs our kid to smash the surrender button, but the boss charges. Subaru casually tosses his sword, yanks some rusty spikes from a fallen mace, and perfectly yeets them straight into the giant's ugly peepers. The monster squeals and stumbles. Our hero dodges the blind smash with terrifying absolute zero-effort footwork, a trick he literally learned from his smoking hot goth master back in the day. Hey, with a teacher like that, anyone would learn fast. Wham! One lethal strike to the throat followed by a brutal combo to the guts. The so-called unbeatable boss completely gassed out, flopping face first onto the concrete like a giant green pancake. Subaru just casually picks up his sword and turns it into monster sashimi ding. He is officially the first player ever to obliterate the Goblin King and crush stage 50. But wait, the system is totally sweating bullets, having an absolute glitch like him in a newbie tutorial. Regardless, the notification bells ring. He starts leveling up like an absolute maniac, instantly unlocking the legendary hidden tutorial shop. He's sitting on a massive stash of 2,500 flex points, but it's his very first time peeking at the premium gear. Will he? He scrolled through the shop, eyeing the premium loot. Take the Nameless Demon Sword for 1,000 points. A sweet blade, but its special perk literally sucked his soul dry. Then there was the Holy Sword Miranda for 1,400. A cozy stamina booster, making it a way safer pick than the edgy Deathblade. Still, our boy Subaru knew. Basic logic wouldn't cut it here. Digging deeper into the system, his eyes suddenly sparkled. Why pick between safety and damage when he found the greed bet? For 1,400 points, this beauty wiped out all negative item debuffs. It was a literal cheat code. He instantly slammed the buy button, bagging both the broken accessory and the cursed blade, completely bypassing the whole dying part. Subaru smirked, feeling like a genius. Meanwhile, the bald instructor watched the transaction, scratching his shiny head. He just could not figure out why the kid wasted points on a niche accessory. Subaru basically told him to mind his own business, giving off absolute main character energy. Naturally, Hoger felt completely roasted. Sweating nervously, the cue ball instructor backed off, trying to save face. Subaru just sighed inwardly. Who would have guessed this goofy guy became an official instructor? Flashback to his past life. This exact bald dude was once a crying fanboy begging for his autograph. The kid had bawled his eyes out, introducing himself as Hoger. Mantime really took a lawnmower to his hairline. Snapping back to reality, Subaru ordered Baldy to keep his test scores classified. Ignored and desperate, Hoger went into full recruitment mode, practically begging Subaru to join the prestigious Knights Guild. Subaru hit him with a flat nope. Panic mode activated. Hoger babbled about how blessed he was to have guidance, but our overpowered protagonist just walked away, leaving the shiny-headed man utterly heartbroken. Upstairs, the starting city was buzzing like a chaotic flea market. Players were hustling everywhere, but Subaru stayed completely focused. This was his second playthrough. A legendary regression cheat to fix his past mistakes. Knowing the future, he had to min-max every single step. He owed it to his fallen comrades. And honestly, he had some epic revenge to serve. First, stop the private training center, the ultimate sandbox to limit test his shiny new toys. The sleepy receptionist pointed to the beginner-friendly Room 1, but our regressor had other plans. "Give me Room 5, he demanded. The old man tried to stop this apparent suicidal newbie, but Subaru just threw cash at him, paying 50 credits. The clerk yelled that a funeral was not included in the fee. In this joint, higher room numbers meant absolute nightmare difficulty. A normal noob would instantly get flattened. But guess what? Subaru was basically a max-level veteran in a level 1 skin. Stepping inside, he unsheathed his new toy. The demonic blade sang as it soul-bound to him. A massive stat buff exploded, immediately followed by the terrifying life drain. His health bar began dropping like a rock. But boom, the greed accessory fired up, patching the leaks. Still, a level 1 shield was no match for a cursed sword. The demonic weapon greedily guzzled his stamina, boosting his attack but pushing him to the absolute brink. Time for the ultimate flex. Slapping down 10,000 credits, he brute forced the skill to level 2. Evolving into an E-rank ability, it wrestled the demonic curse into submission, turning the deadly drain into a minor itch. With his power levels surging off the charts, he grinned like a maniac and dove headfirst into a deadly swarm of traps. Fast forward a few minutes. The receptionist was peacefully snoring until Subaru casually strolled out. Jolted awake, the old man rubbed his eyes, completely dumbfounded. "Wait, didn't that suicidal kid just go in 10 minutes ago?" he muttered. Confused, the clerk waddled over to room 5 to check for a corpse. Knocking on the door and hearing absolute silence, he slowly peeked inside and his jaw hit the floor. The high-level dungeon was reduced to absolute rubble. It looked like a nuke went off. Cut to the next morning. Subaru groaned like an old grandpa, his muscles screaming in agony. But hey, thank the gaming gods, it was just a low-tier demon sword. A real one would have turned him to ash. The curses had worn off, leaving him hyped about his insane new damage output. Let us be real, his base stats were utter trash right now. But the sword and skill combo was absolutely perfection. He was already plotting how to abuse the greed perk with electric magic. But there was one massive, tragic flaw in his master plan. He was completely, utterly, terribly broke. Upgrading had literally drained his wallet to zero. While our hero cried over his empty pockets, cut to a random street corner. A loudmouth streamer was waving at a camera hyped up on Starting City nostalgia. Watching a dude named Alexandra dump hot coffee on his own head for 1,000 credits. Subaru's first thought, absolute lunatic. But a quick search drops a massive truth bomb. 1 in 3 players is actually a streamer. Welcome to the live stream system divided by where clout equals real-time cash divided by. Suddenly, an annoying voice shatters his peace. Well. Look who dragged himself here. Instantly, a violent chill wrecks our main character's spine. The punk smirks, demanding attention. That's when it hits him. This body's previous owner was terrified of this clown. Shaking like a leaf, he stammers about passing the test. The bully manspreads, complaining his reputation is ruined. All because a trash-tier loser survived the tutorial. He admits he prayed the goblins would shred Subaru, instead of him waking up in a dumpster. Yep, classic bullying. Isak sneers, claiming he tossed him away, because he belonged there. Apparently, just existing was a crime. When Subaru tried explaining his zero credit balance, WHAM, a brutal kick straight to the gut. The jerk then violently tore open a ration pack, ordering him to rot in the garbage, or face a beatdown. So, that's his tragic backstory, of why he woke up smelling like garbage. Anyway, Isak flexes his pathetic ego, bragging about hitting level 20, and relying on his daddy Reinhardt's money. He proudly boasts his rank B skill, the absolute tutorial ceiling. Subaru gives him a fake golf clap, and tries to dip. But the blonde brat blocks the exit, ordering our hero to play errand boy and fetch him overpriced coffee. Met with total silence, the bully's fragile ego crumbles. He completely flips out. Foaming at the mouth, he screams if Subaru lost his mind for hesitating. Plot twist. Subaru is completely broke anyway. Isak violently barks at him to sit. But our guy has zero patience left. Avenging the past owner. Nah, no time for that. He tries a peaceful exit, but the punk viciously grabs him. Want to see what happens when you disrespect me? Isak snarls. But instead of cowering, our hero shoots a death glare. Let go. Now. Unless you have a death wish. The spoiled brat practically chokes on his own rage, screaming that a piece of trash shouldn't act so arrogant. Subaru calculates the risk of causing a bloody public scene. But suddenly, the blonde weirdo bursts into psychotic laughter. He mocks Subaru, assuming our hero is shaking in fear. You probably survived the tutorial by playing dead, he mocks. Basking in superiority, he drops an edgy threat. I could erase you from this world and no one would care. He storms off, tossing back a smug goodbye. Friend. The sheer audacity makes Subaru's eye twitch. Anyway, let's talk power leveling. Players have 2 paths to glory. Route 1 challenge modes. Grind the infinite tower, survive the trials, and rake in sweet system rewards. It costs hefty entry fees, but the upside. You don't actually die. You just end up broke in a safe zone. Route 2, the Wild West. Hunting monstrous beasts outside barriers, or diving headfirst into lethal special dungeons. The EXP is insane, but the danger is real. Die here, die forever. Cut to Subaru standing inside the orc dungeon. It's an absolute meat grinder for rookies. But why play it safe when you can bet your life on massive jackpots? High risk equals legendary loot divided by. Scrolling through his smart device, divided by our guy catches up on streamer drama. Some clown named Neurogami Subaru has 80,000 live viewers watching his 4th floor raid. It's his 8th failed attempt. But seeing this pathetic imposter rocking his exact name boils our hero's blood. Suddenly, ding. A sweet 20,000 credit donation drops into his account. Wow, you can actually send. Paid bounty missions to streamers. 3 more viewers throw down cash daring him. But unlike that lucky fake, Subaru shakes with sheer jealousy. Here he is fighting for his life, while that cosplayer farms easy money. The audacity is staggering. He glares at the broadcast, before snapping back to his own deadly reality. Time to clock in. With a wet squelch, he yanks his blade from a dead orc, bracing himself as a massive green horde crashes the party, leading the pack. The towering orc general, the undisputed dungeon boss. No poison spikes this time. Doesn't matter. Subaru has a deadly new toy. His demonic blade drinks his life force and supercharges his stats to god-tier levels. Move you mob characters, he yells, vaulting over the weaklings. He streaks toward the boss like black lightning. Blink once he's above the monster. Blink twice, and the boss is instantly sliced into fresh sushi. Dungeon cleared. To secure his bag, he equips an ancient mask. If streaming is the meta, it's time to game the system. Mask on, he prepares to unleash absolute chaos. Let the fakes tremble. Because among all these cheap knockoffs, the true legendary Subaru has finally logged in. Welcome to Sin Company. A girl is chilling watching a Narukami stream. Suddenly, she unleashes a banshee screech, sending her poor coworker flying right out of his chair. The absolute audacity. 5 whole players, and they still wiped in a basic dungeon. Her buddy clutches his chest. What is your problem? First clear rewards are a juicy 1,000 credits, but he points out, some clown named Subi totally threw the raid. Just another desperate Subaru fanboy trying to chase clout. While the real legend is missing in action, these fakes are multiplying like roaches. She makes a living off streaming, but the platform is dying because every scrub wants to be Subaru. It is downright insulting. These absolute noobs are out here throwing their lives away without even knowing the tutorial basics. If you are so mad, why did you quit climbing the tower? Her coworker fires back. She shrugs. Because it was boring as heck. Honestly, he has zero room to talk since he rage quit too. He knows her dark secret. She only climbed to meet the great Narukami, and totally gave up when she failed. Anyway, the girl suddenly shrieks again. Look at this absolute prodigy. But wait, he is wearing the mask. Both of them almost pass out from shock. The coworker groans. Why are you watching this trash tier stream? It is just a second floor run. She blushes. Look, the mask gets me hyped, okay? Oh, and she demands her 1,000 credits since he lost their bet. Pay up, buddy. Meanwhile, at the second floor entrance, our masked protagonist is looking around. Meh, nothing special. He yawns. But wait. He spots a single solitary viewer in his chat. Suddenly, the social anxiety kicks in. The performance pressure is real. The viewer going by Luani drops a message. First time here, noob. Subaru awkwardly replies. Yeah. Totally, my first rodeo. Luani sighs in the chat. Turn off the stream and focus, idiot. But before he can click off, a giant bat monster dive bombs him. Incoming aggro. But Subaru just catches its head mid-air and absolutely dunks it into the dirt, like a sack of cheap potatoes. Bam! Instant knockout. He smirks at the camera. Still worried about me, chat. The mission here, clear the dungeon and do not die trying. A wild second viewer appears, but Luoni is still playing backseat gamer. Do not get greedy, she spams in all caps. Subaru chuckles. Thanks for the concern, Mom, but I will be perfectly fine. He is playing the solo leveling game, relying on absolutely nobody. The chat thinks he has lost his marbles. Hey, at least stealing a famous name is great clickbait. Suddenly, the real action starts. A sneaky ground mob lunges straight for his ankles. Swoosh. He draws his blade, slicing it into pixel dust. Time to speedrun this, he declares. He absolutely bulldozes a mud merman. Ding. 2 achievement points secured. But the system is not done with him yet. A whole squad of giant bats swarms the sky. Flash slash. Subaru turns them into sashimi with just a few casual swings of his sword. The chat is absolutely frozen. Nobody even saw his blade move. The bats drop 2 points each, while the merman handed over 4. Easy farming. If you scrub out the background noise our hero flexes, you can literally hear their exact spawn points. The viewer's jaws are on the floor. Subaru promises to keep up the gaming commentary. But the points, still, rookie numbers. He needs more. He is hungry for every single achievement point in this dungeon. The chat is furiously debating. Is he actually a pro or about to get totally wiped out? Looks like we are about to find out. Our overconfident protagonist strolls right into the danger zone. Welcome to the Monster VIP Lounge. It is the main bat nest. The chat immediately starts spamming panic emotes. But wait, a wild whale appears, dropping a shiny 100 credit bounty. The quest. Exterminate them all. Everyone thinks this donator is just trolling a dead man walking. But Subaru, he just smirks. Thanks for the 100 credits, boss. Cut back to the streaming agency. The coworker is waving his hands. Hello Earth to you. Why are you hyperfixating on this noob? He apologizes for yelling, but she completely ignores his existence. Her eyes are glued to the monitor. What is so fascinating about a suicide run, he groans. Shut up, she whispers. This guy. He hits different. He tries to change the subject, promising to pay his gambling debt right now, but she waves him off. Keep your money. She is utterly mesmerized by the masked player on screen. The coworker scratches his head, totally lost. But then he looks at the screen. The crazy bastard is literally turning monsters into fireworks. Solo. Looks like her weird obsession with masked streamers finally struck gold. Flashback time. The real Subaru was an absolute legend. Even when getting combo broken, his breathing never hitched. His footwork was ridiculously light, like he had read the enemy's patch notes in advance. Total precognition. Back to our fake Subaru. The chat asks how he does it. He pauses. Honestly, I have zero idea. What a flex. It is pure, unfiltered gamer instinct. Normal players could never copy this glitchy movement. Even his old mentor Shigeru used to think he was hacking. But then our boy figured out the cheat code. Intense, unbroken eye contact. It is all about reading the monster's soul. Or, well, their eyeballs. These one-eyed bats have a terribly predictable aggro pattern. They just dive headfirst like total scrubs. The more they swarm, the more free hitboxes they expose. And Subaru. He exploits this bug flawlessly. One swing and it is a multi-kill combo. He tries to explain it to the chat, but it sounds ridiculously simple. To walk, just move your foot forward. Chat is completely dumbfounded. Meanwhile, Luoni types, bro, collect your bounty credits. But our overpowered protagonist starts aggressively tapping his system UI. Tap, swipe, panic. Silence fills the stream. He mutters. How do I accept money? The chat collectively facepalms. Absolute combat god but totally tech illiterate. Thankfully, Luoni plays tech support, so our boomer hero actually gets paid, wasting zero time. He marches straight toward his next target. Meanwhile, back at the agency, our favorite fangirl literally screeches with pure joy. She claims the situation is super tragic, but her massive grin tells a completely different story. Her coworker totally groans, but she just claps back, asking if he has ever witnessed such raw talent in his entire life. He points out that the second floor is basically a meat grinder, but she absolutely refuses to let him downplay our main character's godly vibe. Starstruck and totally delusional, she starts preaching about fate and destiny. She even blindly guesses the massive spoiler that our boy is actually the legendary reincarnation of Murakami Subaru. It is a classic manhwa trope, right? Honestly, just whispering his glorious name makes her completely dizzy with hype. But her buddy Sean brutally snaps her back to reality before she packs her bags to literally hunt down our glorious protagonist, which, let us be real, was absolutely her master plan. Sean, playing the boring corporate investor, warns that if they drag this obsession straight to the big boss, they are getting fired. They bicker like an old married couple, but she temporarily drops the fight, just so she can glue her eyes back to his insane livestream. Back to the action. Our hero finally steps into the dungeon's most critical zone. This is it, folks. The ultimate boss room. He casually leans against the giant ancient doors, and they magically creep open, exposing a terrifying beast, catching some heavy sleep. Behold, the majestic warrior wolf, whose legendary name is Greg. Yep, Greg the floor boss. The official quest was simple. Pass a trial and earn the furry dude's respect. The system explicitly hinted that this guy was not meant to be Monster Chow. Greg is a sacred guardian. But then, a wild viewer donates 3,000 credits for a boss kill. For our dead broke hero, that is absolute life-changing money, so naturally his morals vanish. Suddenly, the massive beast stirs from its nap, stretching its terrifying limbs, before actually speaking to our guy. And the very first thing this magical talking canine asks is if he really brought Zero back up to a boss fight. Our cocky hero just tells him to sniff around and find out. Greg chuckles, admitting the kid has some serious guts. He claims the boy reeks of an apex predator. You see, these mystical warrior wolves possess super snouts capable of sniffing out a person's exact power level. Impressed by the vibe check, the wolf instantly grants him a VIP pass to just walk right through. But our hero awkwardly clears his throat and confesses he is actually here to slay Greg. Cue the awkward canine silence. He admits his tragic wallet needs the bounty money. Sensing the killing intent, Greg just nods in silent understanding. Meanwhile, back at the agency, the dynamic duo faces the big bad boss. Manager John Tail furiously smashes his keyboard and demands to know the exact viewer count of this supposed rookie prodigy. Sean stammers that it is barely 20 people, but Hatsuka completely hijacks the conversation, loudly bragging that the stream just hit a massive 30 viewers. The boss glares at them like they are absolute clowns. Hatsuka immediately gets a brutal earful for hyping up a totally random nobody. John sarcastically suggests she should just debut as a streamer herself, with her massive talent for wasting everyone's time. But the fangirl totally ignores the roast and happily shrieks that they just hit 40 viewers. Cut back to the deadly dungeon. Greg drops into a terrifying combat stance. Our hero clears his mind, relying purely on gamer instincts. He unsheathes his wicked demon blade, sweating profusely since this is his first real rodeo. Boom. The massive wolf launches forward like an absolute missile, forcing our guy into a panic-induced block. Greg unleashes a terrifying flurry of razor-sharp claws, aiming to slice the kid into sashimi. Our boy violently skids backward across the floor. Yeah, this furry tank hits like a massive truck. Just as he suspected, Winning a muscle measuring contest is totally out of the question. Time for Plan B. He shifts completely into a desperate dodging marathon. Greg actually compliments his fancy footwork, while kindly reminding him he is still going to die. But then, our hero perfectly parries a brutal claw strike, pulling off an insanely timed absolute defense. Sadly, he accidentally backs himself straight into a dead-end wall. Seeing the cornered prey, the giant wolf smirks, thanking him for the warm-up, and lunges for the final execution. But wait, as the beast dives, our hero dumps all his stats into a ridiculous slide tackle right under its furry belly. He totally read the attack pattern, bam. The oversized puppy completely faceplants into the stone wall, wedging itself hilariously tight. Zero hesitation. Our boy unleashes an absolute hurricane of slashes, finishing the combo with one gloriously brutal strike that shatters the boss's health bar. Honestly, Greg is not even mad. He gives one last thumbs up to the kid's crazy talent, before dramatically collapsing onto the cold floor. Ding, ding, ding. A glorious symphony of level-ups echoes, netting him 500 sweet achievement points. The stream chat literally explodes. And the cherry on top, the shiny bounty of 3,000 credits. Sitting pretty on a mountain of sweet cash and massive points, the mystical gateway to the next zone finally cracks open. But as he steps through, his vision is completely spammed with system pop-ups. We are talking a ridiculous 16 elemental choices, a menu size reserved only for absolute prodigies. Look, if our guy does not smash that thunder element button, we might as well cancel the whole series. He locks in the ultimate lightning path, instantly warping into the great unknown. Back at the agency, the tables have aggressively turned. Now the whole office is losing their absolute minds. Hatsuka screams that they just smashed 60 live viewers, which is basically unheard of for a total nobody. Even the grumpy boss chokes on his coffee, totally stunned by the wolf boss solo kill. But he stays stubborn, muttering about rookie luck and crazy investment risks. Oh, but our fangirl is riding a massive high now. She aggressively slaps a bet on the boss's desk. She declares that if her boy fails to master the Thunder Path, she and her coworker will happily work 5 straight years for zero pay. Meanwhile, her poor buddy instantly screeches an absolute John, was totally against, declares that 90. This plan. But honestly, he had absolutely zero to lose. Only our boy Subaru had managed to reach the Thunder Path so far. Hatsuko, meanwhile, was brimming with absolute confidence. So John caves and agrees to hire our hero, while Hatsuko violently muffles her friend's complaints. Element locked in. The main character struts proudly toward the Thunder Path entrance. But the second he arrives, bam. Some random person shoves him aside, screaming for him to watch out. It was a ridiculously close call for both of them. Why? Because a hulking giant with a massive club was standing right there. The young guy screams, "Are you crazy? Do you have a death wish?" Ding. The system casually pops up, defeat the giant fragment. Wait, what? Nobody understands why a mid-boss is spawning here. This specific nightmare was strictly reserved for the second half of the challenge. The live chat is absolutely losing its mind over the glitch. Subaru figures his little stunt of offing Greg completely derailed the timeline. Crash. The giant violently smashes its club into the dirt. Our protagonist smoothly dodges the massive crater. The panicked guide keeps screaming about almost dying, but our hero completely tunes him out. Subaru just wants to speedrun this boss before anyone steals his X. Suddenly, the giant lifts its club, leaving a massive opening. Our hero slips past the attack effortlessly. When the weapon hits the dirt, Subaru literally uses the monster's arm like a giant staircase. He launches himself straight up to its ugly face, targets the absolute weak point, and violently plunges his sword deep into its neck. He instantly ends the boss fight without dropping a single bead of sweat. Shh, be quiet. He coldly whispers to the collapsing giant. Honestly, a bit redundant, considering a dead monster wasn't going to talk anyway. Ding. The glorious system announcement chimes in. Stage 4 cleared. A beautiful shower of level-up lights hits the main character, and he loots an epic drop called the Giant's Heart. The poor guy who tried to save him is left completely speechless, totally mirroring the utter confusion of the stream chat. The young man's tone instantly switches to maximum respect. He timidly asks for his savior's name. Subaru just smirks. "I'm the guy who kills giants." Fast forward to the city. Our main character chills for a bit, scrolling through the chaotic messages flooding his player kit. The chat is aggressively begging to see the loot. Knowing it's super rare, Subaru decides to host a quick unboxing stream for the fans. He casually pulls the giant's heart out of his subspace. Boom. It's an ultra-rare ring that massively boosts vitality and health regeneration. Oh, and he also scores the Thunderclap armor, practically dripping with pure lightning aura. Suddenly, the stream chat goes absolutely wild. A massive superfan drops a heavy 5,000 credit donation just to see him use the thunder. Subaru flashes a greedy grin and thanks them. The donations keep rolling in like a massive tsunami. The sheer amount of cash makes our hero greedier. I mean, extremely motivated to succeed. With thousands of viewers hyping him up, Subaru finally realizes he might actually have protagonist plot armor. But suddenly, knock knock, his door swings open. The guide boy awkwardly returns, bringing along a literal blonde knight shining in full heavy armor. He apologizes for crashing the stream and introduces Captain Pelis of the Night Village. The two exchange polite nods and get straight to business. The giant attacks are getting completely out of hand. The young man explains that the knights and citizens literally haven't slept in 24 hours. That's exactly why they were so incredibly hostile at first. But Subaru completely carried the village's defense while the captain was gone. Captain Pelis bows his head in pure gratitude. Subaru just waves it off. I'm just farming XP, he thinks. But out loud says, just doing my duty. Pelis is practically the heroic poster boy of this village. A fearless knight dedicated to wiping out the giant menace once and for all. Getting straight to the juicy part, the captain reveals they've finally located the giant chief. They're planning a totally suicidal raid to end the war. Both men bow deeply to our hero, begging for his overpowered assistance. The chat instantly starts spamming, protect Captain Pelus at all costs. Subaru casually remembers his meta-knowledge. According to the original storyline, this beloved knight is completely doomed to die in the very next stage. Subaru tells the boy to lift his head. Flashing a confident smirk, he says, don't worry, I'll completely carry this entire raid. The knight's eyes shine with absolute gratitude. Ding. Stage 5 officially begins. By late afternoon, the raid party is fully assembled. A massive squad of warriors marches toward the boss room. Subaru glances at his screen. The stream viewership is skyrocketing into the stratosphere. Suddenly, the captain raises a hand, signaling the vanguard to halt. Looming in the distance is the massive, motionless body of the giant chief, Pelis doing his classic heroic self-sacrifice routine. Volunteers to draw all the aggro while our hero stays safely in the backline. Nope, Subaru tightly grabs his shoulder before the knight can do something incredibly stupid. Wait for it. Rumble. The very earth starts violently quaking beneath their feet. Everyone desperately scrambles for balance. It's already awake, Subaru warns coldly. As the monstrous boss glares at the raid party, dozens of regular giants violently burst out of the ground. It's a total ambush. Where did this massive army even come from? The live chat is screaming in panic. Captain Pelus instantly realizes they are completely and utterly outmatched. Then the absolute nightmare begins. Screaming warriors are snatched up and brutally devoured like popcorn by the towering abominations. And the most terrifying part? The monsters are wearing twisted, psychopathic smiles. Pelus desperately screams for a full retreat down the mountain. Total catastrophic chaos erupts. Half the knights are paralyzed by pure terror, while the rest are sprinting for their absolute lives. Is this a party wipe? Loses his mind watching his brother fall. Pelus screams for everyone to run, making it an absolute order. He tells his men to remember their families and village, because a wipeout here means game over for everyone. In the end, only Pelus and Falcon are left holding the front line. But our boy Subaru, he stands his ground like a brick wall. The blonde commander yells at him to retreat and lead the knights another day. But Subaru flips the script and says he is the one who should be giving out that advice. He asks why Blondie is still glued to the spot, bluntly stating he cannot fight, at max power with a knight, babysitting him. Pelus tries arguing that ditching a foreigner to solo the mob is awful, but our main character insists, so the blonde dashes off to round up backup. And since he practically owes his life to the guy, he prays. Subaru survives. The giant mobs stand tall, locking their aggro onto our hero, but he absolutely refuses to let them strike first. He charges in screaming that he will gladly be their raid boss, and swiftly slices the kneecaps off one of them. Then he casually chops down another nearby giant just to close the gap. The monsters begin to take Subaru seriously, because in the blink of an eye, he has already body-bagged 2 of them. Even if this was just a test, the hero refuses to look like a complete noob. While this epic beatdown unfolds, the blonde knight runs for his life. But suddenly guilt hits him like a truck for actually fleeing. Meanwhile, Subaru's live chat absolutely doubts he will fight seriously. Lore-wise, Pelus was totally supposed to die here, but Subaru knows his stats can carry everyone. So, he stays on the battlefield and instantly deletes 2 more monsters with a single swipe. Swinging his blade like a maniac, he sends another giant straight to the afterlife, and his demonic sword greedily slurps up all that juicy experience. Subaru starts panting, so he sprints to clear a path and find the area boss as soon as possible. Using the giant corpses as stepping stones, he parkours his way forward. He vaults over smaller mobs and stomps onto another, keeping his momentum. Subaru plays hopscotch on giant heads, while his broken equipment hard carries his stamina bar. He desperately needs to find the boss, and by pure gamer luck, he spots the massive, ugly guy right in the middle of it all. The boss also looks super excited to crush our protagonist. Subaru starts sweating because if he does not wrap up this fight right now, it is an instant game over. So as the boss winds up a massive punch, he prays for luck. Subaru snaps his fingers to activate the thunderclap skill on his armor. The raw electricity fries the giants, but the deafening boom is what scrambles their brains, so they all start throwing a massive tantrum. Since even the big boss cannot dodge the noise, our protagonist leaps right over him and, not missing, the golden opportunity plunges his sword deep into the giant's neck. It is such a lightning-fast strike that the monster is totally clueless, so it just flops over backward, and the glorious system ping announces Subaru's victory. All of our boys' stats skyrocket off the charts, leaving his chat completely speechless. For Subaru, if this were a generic manga, he would totally strike a super edgy pose, but the weather is turning garbage, and his greed skill is out of gas. Worst of all, even after clearing this stage, the monsters refuse to despawn until the exam fully ends. Continuing to fight now is a nightmare that the protagonist is absolutely not geared for, as he is practically running on fumes. However, since stage 5 is complete, the clouds part and a ridiculous bolt of black lightning strikes Subaru, dead on. Meanwhile, as all this chaotic madness unfolds, inside a cozy cabin in the middle of nowhere, Rina is just chilling and staring at her player kit. Shigure walks in and casually asks what she is staring at. Rina plays it cool, claiming she is just enjoying the breeze. Shigure smirks, agreeing she should enjoy it before the apocalypse catches up to them. When she tries to get all serious, her friend completely ignores her edge. Suddenly curious, the girl peeks over to see exactly what kind of brain rot her friend is watching. Rina flexes her screen, showing off the live stream of some dude named Narukami Subaru, but the second Shigure hints that he might be the legendary leader, Rina gets instantly triggered. She calls him just an obnoxious streamer stuck on the second floor, vividly remembering her friend's warning. If Subaru had actually survived, Kazuki would be totally doomed by now. Rina insists the leader is super dead and wants her friend to accept it, but she stubbornly disagrees. Rina screams, demanding to know how long the hero will hide in his basement. Shigure claps back, asking the exact same thing if they are just going to be lazy, couch potatoes watching streams. Rina huffs that she is just killing time, but her jaw drops when she glances back at the screen. Shigure peeks over and makes the exact same shocked Pikachu face. Back at the exam, our crazy protagonist manages to harness that raw thunder element against the giants, infusing pure electricity straight into his demonic blade. He gets an insane power buff, slicing up not just one, but literally every single giant stupid enough to walk into his hitbox. Once the dust settles, Subaru realizes his stamina bar is empty. He totally wiped the monster wave, but acting like a solo player really cost him. Fortunately for our exhausted boy, he is not alone. Pilus actually did his job and brought back reinforcements, sprinting over the moment he spotted our hero. But the absolute madman protagonist could not even mumble a cool one-liner before his eyes rolled back and he passed out. Meanwhile, over at the entertainment company, the tension is thick enough to cut with a sword. Sean and John scramble to comfort the poor girl who looks like she is crying. But nope. Her face is just tomato red, from pure embarrassment. She messaged our hero secretly, hoping for some romance. But Sean ruins the mood, reminding everyone it is strictly a business email. Hatsuka explodes, screaming that she is a massive fangirl first and a manager second. Desperately changing the subject, she claims she already told the boss. That legendary lightning power, our newbie just casually swiped it. John is absolutely convinced the kid is a massive big deal. Suddenly, Sean drops a bombshell. Our hero finally read the email. Hatsuka practically ascends to heaven from pure joy. But plot twist, he left her on red. Brutal. Her fangirl dreams crash and burn instantly. Meanwhile, a famous combat analysis streamer is getting ready to farm some views. Hokwai is the absolute boss of giving tutorials on how to violently dismantle enemies. He carefully watches clips of top-tier players, including Amon, who just hit the blue zone, and the poster boy Kazuki. But today, Hokwai admits that the legendary Subaru is the only one worth talking about. He hypes up the chat thanks his massive audience and announces that today is all about the lightning god. Hokwai clicks over to the live feeds and accidentally stumbles right into our main character's stream. His jaw drops. Our hero is spamming his new lightning powers like a total cheat code. Hokwai frantically explains that the kid has god-tier mana control channeling energy perfectly into his blade without wasting a drop. The professional streamer is literally speechless. He realizes the chat has zero clue what they are witnessing, declaring that this newbie is going to be a monster. In a moment of pure hype, Ho Kwai boldly claims that our hero's sword control is even better than the legendary Subaru in his prime. Talk about crazy expectations. The very next morning, our sleepy hero gets jump-scared by the system. Stage 6 is paused, and it asks if he wants to rage quit the challenge. He is feeling lazy and completely drained. Checking his shiny new player kit, he realizes his viewer count randomly skyrocketed while he was literally snoring. So he awkwardly apologizes, says he needs a nap, and just pulls the plug on the stream. He then teleports to the waiting room, staring at a massive gate. Ding. Another desperate message from Hatsuka, begging him to read her business proposal. He assumes it is just spam mail, but his eyes bug out when he sees the logo. It is from the massive entertainment guild Suiten. Back in the safe zone, he scrolls through the player kit and realizes this guild is filthy rich. Oh, and their star streamer Ho Kwai basically glazed him so hard that he is trending worldwide. The comment section is an absolute toxic wasteland of arguments. But our hero just smirks happy for the free clout and mentally thanks Ho Kwai. Meanwhile, a super arrogant blonde named Isaac is stalking him. Hearing that a completely random newbie on the second floor is stealing his spotlight, Isaac is absolutely fuming with jealousy. The guy is trying so hard not to throw a literal tantrum. He marches into a local tavern, spots his target, and gets a wicked idea. He tries acting tough, but our hero completely ignores his existence. Enraged Isaac purposely dumps a cup of scalding hot coffee right on our guy. He fakes an apology, acting like he just noticed him. Isaac aggressively mocks him, but our main character continues to treat him like invisible trash. The blonde loser demands coffee and sweets again, completely losing his mind when our hero just stands up to leave. Isaac throws a massive fit, screaming about respect. He grabs our hero by the collar, threatening him to apologize or die. But our guy casually swats Isaac's hand away, stating he has zero time for clowns. He grips the blonde's wrist so hard the bones practically scream in agony. Isaac squeals like a pig. Our hero walks out, tossing out a savage one-liner about payback for the ruined coffee. Isaac tries to act tough and stop him, but gets a door slammed right in his face. The blonde whines that he just wanted an easy climb up the tower, but since he just got publicly humiliated, he vows to stop playing nice. Stepping outside, our protagonist checks his kit and slides into a DM, setting up a secret meeting at a creepy wooden cabin in the woods. He is going to link up with Rena. Cut to a super dark cave on floor 2, where our guy has already absolutely demolished an entire army of monsters. He casually strolls into the boss room to hunt down the Lizard King. His unique skill, Greed Bet, just hit level 3, and he is ready to gamble. Suddenly, a tiny spark explodes into a monstrous boss called Salamander, charging at him like a maniac. 2. To avoid completely dying like last time, Subaru decided to test drive his brand new Lightning. First, he channels the thunder straight into his boots, leaping up to slice that salamander. But oops, the oversized lizard quickly unleashes a massive fire blast to roast our boy. Not today, though. Subaru charges his demonic sword with lightning and slices through the flames like butter. His stamina drops, but he lands on the beast, flexes everything he's got, and splits it right in half. Boss defeated, he strikes a sick pose on its back. Outside the dungeon, our hero notices his stamina bar recovering way too slowly, though he has energy left. The real tragedy. Leveling up that greed. Bet now costs 40,000 shiny credits. Subaru just wanted a VIP sponsor to magically appear. But instead, a super annoying voice echoes from the woods, screaming his name. The guy is already laughing his head off at our hero grinding in the dirt. He declares that for a childhood buddy, this pathetic display is shocking. Subaru just sighs. Man, this stalker is way too persistent. Isak sneers, claiming his patience is completely drained. Stepping uncomfortably close, the villain whispers dramatically that this will be their final goodbye. Subaru just tilts his head. Wait, seriously? Meanwhile, back in the bustling heart of the starting city, the hawk-eyed streamer casually strolls into a wine shop. Waiting inside is John, the big boss of the Sen Company, who waves him over. They do the usual corporate small talk. How is business? Hawkeye admits things are just okay right now, but John laughs it off. Relax. Your loyal fanboys aren't going to vanish into thin air. Anyway, enough boring tea time chat. They get straight to the juicy stuff. The rich president really wants the tea on Hawkeye's secret evaluation of our main character. The streamer doesn't hesitate. He repeats that Subaru's potential is way more broken than expected. John fully trusts his bro's golden intuition. Boom! The boss reveals he wants to sign Subaru immediately. Hearing this master plan, Hawkeye smirks, praising John's legendary business senses. With the hype officially confirmed by a pro, John is absolutely locked in. He begs the streamer to collab with Subaru for that sweet view count. Meanwhile, back at the Forest Showdown, the two boys face off. And our hero isn't sweating one bit. Isaac starts monologuing, warning that solo players always meet a tragic end. He mocks Subaru's ridiculous plot armor, claiming he only survived this far by sheer luck. Honestly, the blonde villain just desperately wants the name Subaru erased from history. The whole blue-eyed legacy totally triggers his anger issues. Subaru just rubs his temples. Suffering from success is exhausting when the whole world is obsessed with you. Rolling his eyes, he asks why this blonde stalker is so obsessed. Isach snaps back, screaming it's entirely because of that cursed name. Subaru just shrugs. Hey, most people think my name is pretty cool. Furious, the blonde points out that our boy knows exactly who his daddy is. But Subaru's brain is completely buffering. Isach yells louder, I am Reinhardt's son. And finally, it clicks. Ah, the famous saint of the one-hit sword, flashback time. Back in the day, the real Subaru broke the internet when he literally came out of nowhere. The legendary blue-eyed leader utterly humiliated the top ranker Reinhardt from Runeterra, and the funniest part? He beat the one-hit saint in exactly one hit. Reinhardt tried to act tough and stand back up, but instantly ate dirt face first. Back in the present, Isach throws a massive tantrum, forbidding Subaru from speaking his dad's holy name. Subaru is genuinely confused now. Wait, are you mad about my name, or because your dad caught these hands? He tries to explain that Hosoi Subaru also suffered the name curse. But the blonde has negative patience. Tired of this hilarious comedy routine, he traps them both in a blazing ring of fire. With his hands crackling with angry flame magic, he desperately wants to log off. He tells Subaru to shut his mouth and drop dead. Isach violently screams about how much he despises Subaru, and the stupid way everyone treats him like a literal god. Especially since, supposedly, Subaru was the reason his entire guild got wiped out on floor 8. Isach spits that they deserved it, hoping they are all burning in hell. Going completely off the rails, the blonde launches a massive fireball. Your luck ended the day you got that name, boom. The explosion swallows the protagonist completely. Isach pants heavily, complaining he used way too much mana. But hey, he is already smiling, fantasizing about brutally hunting down that annoying masked streamer next. Did someone say masked? Instantly, the smoke clears, and our boy confidently strolls out of the flames, fully wearing his iconic mask. Were you talking about me? Isach shrieks like a banshee. How is he taking 0 damage from a point-blank fireball? Subaru dusts off his shoulders. I really hate loud noises, and I hate listening to arrogant idiots even more. Bam! Subaru casually buries his fist deep into the blonde's stomach. Isach instantly folds like a cheap lawn chair, crashing to the dirt. Gagging for air, Isach can't even form words. Subaru just looks down and ruthlessly mocks his pathetic face. This absolute humiliation is unreal. Smiling behind the mask, Subaru proposes a fun pop quiz. Hey buddy, care to guess? Am I Hosoi Subaru? Or the masked streamer, Narukami Subaru? Or wait, the legendary blue-eyed Narukami Subaru? Brain officially broken, Isach begins to. Wait, this guy finally realizes our main character is that legendary streamer. But he still thinks a total loser grabbing the thunder element is no big deal. He actually claims a nobody like our hero is way out of his league here. So obviously, in his tiny mind, he is far superior to the real Subaru of the blue eyes. Isach foolishly lunges at our protagonist, absolutely mauling. But Subaru casually slices the guy's arm like a hot knife through butter. While the blonde tries to process his missing limb, our hero playfully asks where all that cocky confidence went. Isach's brain lags hard, suddenly remembering how Subaru talked about Hosoi's suffering in the third person. The rusty gears finally turn, and he figures out that our protagonist is the legendary Subaru himself. Too bad this big brain moment happened mid-slice. With just 2 lightning-fast strikes, the one-sided beatdown ends and the blonde hits the floor. Our hero just smirks, calling this rent payment for borrowing Hosoi's body. Meanwhile, at a random diner, normal folks are cringing hard at a massive Subaru fanboy. They feel intense secondhand embarrassment, noticing he is literally live-streaming his meal. After some big-brain thinking, our hero realizes that keeping this mask glued to his face is a genius anti-stalker move. And speak of the devil, his highly anticipated mystery guest finally walks right through the door. Hatsuka bows nervously, saying it is a huge honor, and revealing she slid into his direct messages. She awkwardly introduces herself, blushing like a ripe tomato. They shake hands like true professionals, but the girl secretly panics because she sees this masked boy looks exactly like the late great Subaru. It is almost like he respawned and slapped on a funny disguise. Subaru cluelessly asks if she is okay, and the poor girl practically spontaneously combusts. She suddenly remembers her boss threatening her to act cool, yet here she is, failing spectacularly. She furiously scratches her head in pure corporate panic. Our smooth protagonist breaks the ice, asking if she is a Subaru fan. When Hatsuka screams yes, the hero humbly flexes, but wait, she is a massive fan of him too. Hatsuka proudly brags that she has been his loyal viewer since the Zero Viewer days. She even panic-watched when he boldly walked straight into the giant's death trap. Blushing behind his mask, our hero thanks his #1 fan. Hatsuka romanticizes it, claiming it was pure fate that made her spam the corporate account. Fixing her posture, she desperately tries to sound like a real adult, pitching a juicy contract full of sponsorships. She promises the company will absolutely pamper his brand, and all he needs to do is sit and game. Subaru suspiciously asks if every streamer gets the sugar daddy treatment, but she insists he is special. Completely ignoring her boring corporate speech, he abruptly interrupts to bluntly ask if all managers are as weird as her. The poor girl self-deprecates, stammering that others are way better since she cannot read his masked poker face at all. While she is preparing her resignation letter, Subaru is internally sweating because he sees her power level is absurdly high. He was only silent because he realized if office workers are this overpowered, he needs to grind 10 times harder. Hatsuka visibly deflates into a sad puddle. But then, out of nowhere, our hero announces he fully trusts her, extending his hand to lock in the ultimate corporate partnership. The emotional roller coaster ends as the girl bows violently, practically crying anime tears of joy. The very next day, our boy goes live, and boom, 703 viewers instantly flood in. He absolutely loses his mind over the massive jump, totally blind to Hatsuka's marketing hustle. Pumped up, he hypes up chat for the absolute cinema he is about to deliver. The protagonist then boldly clicks into the 6th stage, elegantly named The Legend of the Thunder Path. Cutting to a gloomy, rainy tent, a bunch of grumpy knights are scheming how to advance further. Pilus anxiously asks if the masked weirdo arrived yet. Falcon shakes his head no. Another guy totally doubts if they should trust a random dude scoffing at the ridiculous rumor that some tourist defeated the giant boss solo. 2 more haters chime in, mocking the blonde for believing the hype without seeing the gameplay. But Pellis barks at the salty newbies to shut their mouths. And right on cue to ruin their trash talk, our boy magically spawns in Pellis, instantly transforms into a worried mother hen checking his health. Our hero gives a cool thumbs up. But to the background extras, his edgy mask screams stranger danger. The hero quickly smells the utter disrespect in the room. He remembers that his genius manager Hatsuka set up a sweet hotkey to secretly mute his stream microphone, so he bluntly trash talks the non-player characters for being arrogant scrubs. Before swords are drawn, a veteran knight steps up, introducing himself as Dale. Subaru politely nods, and the grizzled veteran explains he was trying to save his dirt-poor village from the raid. Our battle-hungry hero instantly asks if there is a secret boss stronger than the chief. The old man drops massive lore, claiming the original god-slaying giants got banished to the Shadow Realm ages ago. So, the current ones are just a bunch of nerfed discount versions. However, Dale starts sweating profusely, hyping up a terrifying new monstrosity that spawned right after our hero clapped the boss. The room's tension spikes, but our protagonist just smiles, ready for another easy grind against him. Dale, shaking like a leaf, mutters that our hero is only acting tough because he hasn't actually seen the monster yet. Pellis yells about some ancient myth, claiming the peak of Millennium Mountain hides a legendary thunder fragment. And get this, only the village's true savior is destined to claim the loot. Fast forward a few days. Another town goes up in flames. Locals are desperately fleeing from massive giants. The boss of these hulking brutes rambles about his dead son, casually scooping up a poor knight from the dirt. Then right in his giant palm, he squashes the guy like a tomato. He roars about avenging his kid with human blood. Meanwhile, Subaru is strolling right into this chaotic mess, spotting the beast after his mountain trek. The live chat starts sweating bullets because this giant looks absolutely unhinged. Rewind a bit. The blonde guy warned they only had 3 days before the Titans crashed the party, telling Subaru to run if he failed. So, our overconfident protagonist hiked up Millennium Mountain hunting for spicy lightning powers. Was he scared? Not a chance. He firmly believed his main character vibes could handle anything. The hilarious part. He shamelessly recycled his old catchphrase. The stream chat instantly roasted him for it. Meanwhile, some whale viewers dropped shiny credit bounties. Anyway, our oblivious hero just keeps riding his majestic, trusty steed straight to the supposed VIP loot drop zone. He suddenly hits the brakes when a ridiculously massive stone wall completely blocks his path. Time to investigate. Pellis claimed this relic was legendary, but honestly, the guy had zero clue what it actually looked like. Sadly, Blondie also had no tutorial on absorbing the power. He just wildly guessed that throwing lightning could fry the giants. Back in reality, Hatsuka happily screams at her grumpy boss that she finally bagged a huge contract. He bursts into laughter, mocking that she is finally acting like a functional adult. Hatsuka sarcastically thanks him, wondering if she was garbage before. Meanwhile, John calls to say he met the Hawkeye dude, then instantly hangs up, promising the kid will call. Quitting time hits. and our corporate slave dramatically flops onto her bed, eager to binge the hero's livestream. Getting paid to be a massive fangirl was her ultimate dream. The lucky girl tuned in exactly when he dropped that cheesy catchphrase. But instead of swooning, she was utterly flabbergasted that he delivered such a cringy line with zero shame. Back at the freezing mountain peak, our overpowered hero casually sparks up his lightning, making everyone assume he is panicking. He punches a massive crater into the wall, but doesn't stop there. He goes full unga bunga, smashing it until lightning explodes everywhere. A goofy grin appears, realizing he finally hit the jackpot. The chat spams question marks, utterly confused by his brute force. But deep down, he felt the electricity resonating within his very soul. The real prize was hiding behind this newly exposed mountain door. As he casually struts forward, the chat aggressively points out his lack of a key. Ignoring them, he slowly reaches out, and the moment he taps the stone, sparks violently fly. Deciding keys are for losers, he gathers massive electric energy in his hand. He clenches his fist for a heavy strike, knowing the secret mechanic. Instead of boringly looting for a key, he just decides to blast it open. When his raw voltage strikes the entrance, the entire structure aggressively trembles. And boom, like a cheap magic trick, it slides open, welcoming him inside. He takes a dramatic breath and strides forward to face the ultimate boss room. The moment he steps in, the gates ruthlessly slam shut, trapping him. Meanwhile, back in the tent where our hero previously chilled, the group nervously debates strategy. An old-timer asks if Blondie actually believes the streamer boy can grab the lightning buff. Blondie instantly nods with zero hesitation. Dale whines that the boss puts way too much blind faith in him. But Pilus is a certified believer. Suddenly, some guy bursts in screaming that they are all dead meat even if Subaru wins. Dropping to his knees in comical panic, he cries that these noobs severely underestimate the power of the incoming Titan. Pilus glares at the crybaby, asking if they should just surrender. Honestly, Blondie is desperately clinging to his faith in our main character, since he saved their skins before. But the terrified guy snaps back that acting brave is easy when he hasn't seen the beast's ugly mug. Cue the dramatic timing. The tent violently quakes, sending cups flying everywhere. Suddenly, a frantic knight crashes the meeting, screaming that the boss monster has arrived. Jaws hit the floor, totally panicked because they absolutely didn't expect him to speedrun the invasion. Meanwhile, inside the unlocked cave, our hero wanders around, trying to guess what this annoying puzzle wants him to actually do. Chat trolls joke that the room is empty, while the nerds drop lore about lightning being way too fast for the naked eye. Subaru realizes he must sense the invisible. He dramatically shuts his peepers, recalling the epic fact that this trial is literally named Thunderpath. The craziest surge of energy wasn't in the air, but directly under his feet. A genius idea strikes. He scoops up a random rock and absolutely yeets it into the darkness with maximum strength. As electricity vanishes into thin air, it becomes a deadly invisible trap. And trust me, the deeper he goes, the more shocking it gets. A marker stone shatters into dust just steps away. Test or no test, turning back is for losers. Our guy realizes this is a brutal endurance run. A twisted game where failing the vibe check means a crispy game over. Viewers are frantically tossing missions at him, begging the dude to stop before he fries. He just smiles, says thanks, and walks on. Meanwhile, back in a cozy forest cabin, Shigura is glued to her player kit. She's so hyper-focused that when Rina pops up, she literally jumps out of her skin. Rina flinches back, totally confused, and asks if her friend was watching something illegal. Sweating bullets, Shigura lies through her teeth, blaming it on fatigue. Rina smirks, teasing that perverts usually get hairier. Honestly, ever since she got slapped with a streaming ban, the poor girl had been dying of boredom. But Rina's radar pings. Why does it feel like she's being aggressively shoved off her own couch? Panic mode activated, Shigura yells at her to go sleep somewhere else, and to just mind her own business, while sneakily muting the audio. Feeling the super awkward vibes, Rina rolls her eyes and gets up to leave. Realizing she totally overreacted, Shigura offers her a snack as a peace treaty. But nope, Rina violently slams the door in her face. Well, whatever. Now Shigura can finally get back to her secret stream. Because if Rina caught her watching this specific guy, all hell would break loose. She sighs, thinking that even if their appearances changed, Subaru would definitely remember them. But what really blows her mind is how this crazy rookie acts exactly like their old boss. Well, except for being aggressively thirsty for credits. But oops, she let her guard down. Rina's hand clamps onto her shoulder like a horror movie villain, asking if she's blind. And just by her demonic glare, it was clear she was absolutely furious. Back in the nightmare cave, our madman continues his slow, crispy stroll. But eventually he literally starts getting roasted alive. And his painful progress is stuck at a pathetic 2.3%. Subaru just tanks it purely because he's a masochist, who's suffered like this a million times before. Hitting 3.2%, it is painfully obvious this walk will take forever. But he stubbornly pushes forward, running on sheer willpower. Meanwhile, the chat is losing its collective mind, screaming at him to just run. Easy to say when you're not the one getting deep fried. Sure, crossing the finish line is cool, but this greedy hero actually wants to loot the cave too. Watching this absolute madness from his bedroom, Hawkeyes takes notes like a crazed fanboy. He recalls John's golden advice about collaborating, a totally overpowered strategy his boss completely ignored. John always said that in the streaming game, you can only truly control half the board. Hawkeye's new true fame depended on hitching a ride with the right players. And yet Subaru's lethal death run felt less like a pro gamer flex and more like a relaxing vlog. As a newbie streamer himself, Hawkeyes just needed to play to his strengths. This was his golden ticket. Time to grab onto this high-speed meteor and blast straight into stardom. Haters claimed he only analyzed streams because he was too chicken to climb the tower himself. But honestly, he was just as desperate to touch the heavens. Daydreaming about becoming a gaming god like Subaru, he totally zones out. Panic strikes. He snaps back to reality, only to realize he completely missed the most epic part, cutting back to our crazy protagonist. He's still walking, but looking more like a battered zombie with every step. Not a single groan of pain escapes his lips. He just swallows the agony, like an absolute unit. They say the most lethal lightning strikes straight into your soul. And right now, he's absorbed enough voltage to turn his heart into a battery hitting 20% progress. Boom slash. Blocked meridians blast open, rewarding him with pure magical power. These mana channels are the literal highways of strength. Think of them as tiny spiritual veins. Forcing them open is like violently unclogging a magical drain. Basically, he's letting raw thunder ravage his entire nervous system. Unlike normal people who gently purify their bodies, our guy was recklessly improvising. Usually you do this safely with your own gentle mana. Jamming external lightning inside you is practically a suicide mission with 10 times the pain. Dripping blood everywhere, this absolute madman keeps dragging himself forward. Back at the cabin, Rena's anger totally melts into pity. She watches in silent shock. As a veteran player, she knows exactly what this lunatic is attempting, but why. He's literally chugging raw elemental lightning instead of using his own magic. Any sane person would have passed out from the sheer torture. Even if this test won't kill him, the agony is 100% real. She can't look away. He's practically sobbing, questioning his own ridiculous life choices. Hitting 50% progress, those tiny energy channels are somewhat open. Cue the classic protagonist regret. He felt so incredibly awful, he was absolutely convinced the Grim Reaper was waving hello. Back in the day, Subaru bragged that no obstacle could stop him. That pep talk nonsense worked perfectly because he always carried the team. But right now, he was eating massive slices of humble pie. If he hadn't acted like an arrogant jerk, maybe his squad wouldn't have perished. Adding salt to the wound, our boy recalls the blonde, basically calling him out for being a complete show-off. Totally his bad. He kept dragging his feet until bam, he dramatically faceplants into the dirt limbs completely out of battery. After passing out, our hero magically wakes up in a lush green paradise, rocking his original stats. But wait, he turns around and spots his supposedly dead crew casually having a picnic. Talk about a plot twist. His entire squad is just chilling there together. Even though this screams hallucination trap, he sprints toward them. Getting closer, the waterworks start flowing because this illusion is just way too realistic. Chuckling, he tries to brush off his literal nightmare, but his lovely friends immediately start blaming him for their tragic demise. Panic mode activates. The girl who got skewered earlier furiously demands to know where his overpowered protection was. Suddenly, a totally not ominous red fire completely engulfs the cozy campfire. Our guy tries stammering out excuses, but his buddies morph into creepy, vengeful ghosts. The panic is real, as he screams begging them to stay. He hits the ground, doing a full dramatic kneel, crying for forgiveness. Boom. An explosion shatters the nightmare. Jolting awake in reality, Subaru realizes he just survived a mental breakdown. Hitting 97%, his HP is flashing red, but the finish line is near. Even though the ghost trip sucked, it gave him a wicked motivation boost to avenge Kazuki. Meanwhile, over in the doomed tutorial village, the terrified NPCs and heavily armored knights are bracing for a massive monster beatdown. Sweating bullets, they watch a colossal titan casually step right over their defensive walls. The guards frantically search for the main boss, totally trash-talking our missing hero, but Pelly screams at them, defending his honor. First, they beg a random stranger for help, then they cry when he's late. That is exactly why the blonde knight roasts their non-existent bravery. Dale jumps in, hyping up his bro, and agreeing that less whining and more slicing is required. Channeling his inner badass, he ignites his glowing sword with raw magical energy, declaring that true knights do the carrying. Flexing hard, Dale and Pellis charge straight to the front lines, ready to catch a glorious death. Right on cue, our exhausted main character finally hits 99%. A crackling, glowing orb of pure electricity appears, which practically screams, "I am the quest objective." The catch: his stamina bar is at 0. But Mama didn't raise a quitter. Meanwhile, back at the chaotic village raid, Dale goes full ninja. Sprinting like a maniac, he brutally chops a titan's kneecap. The beast screeches in agony, flailing clumsily to grab the old warrior. Suddenly, his blonde buddy swoops in smoothly, telling him to hold his beer. He goes full parkour straight up the monster's spine. Reaching the nape, he leaps into the air and unleashes a blender of sword strikes. The colossal threat is deleted instantly, crashing down like a massive felled tree. Witnessing this epic carry, the Scrub Knights actually regain morale. They start mercilessly bullying the giant's corpse to look tough. Pella smugly declares the mini-boss is cooked and it's nap time. But Dale, being the buzzkill, points out that thing was just a pathetic warm-up mob. Oblivious to the doom, the rookie knights celebrate the suspiciously easy tutorial. One guy actually says it'll be a breeze now, instantly triggering a massive death flag as he gets squashed flat. Staring at a horrifying mountain-sized shadow, the veterans instantly realize this new boss is totally overpowered. Cutting back to our barely conscious hero, the loading bar hits 99.929% as he grabs the glowing spark. Subaru dramatically screams out his edgy revenge quote. A massive, blinding wave of pure electric chaos erupts and fades. The smoke clears, and it looks like he actually beat the impossible stage. Yet in classic Manhwa fashion, his victory is interrupted. A horrific jolt zaps his system as those pesky energy channels abruptly snap open. A single sneeze could have literally deleted his account right then. But by sheer plot armor, our guy just passes out, clearing stage 6. Watching this train wreck from afar, John just facepalms at the hero's insanely reckless, borderline suicidal leveling methods. Dialing up the Falcon eyes, they gossip about how absolutely bonkers this entire crazy situation really. The chat is going wild. Hoai screams that our boy Subaru is about to become an absolute superstar. A legend in gaming and streaming, he is giving the audience exactly what they want. Total, unfiltered chaos. It is raw reality. After all, the real boss of Blue Eyes was a hardcore player, not a desk jockey. We are witnessing the birth of a streaming god. Meanwhile, back to our exhausted main character. He peels his face off the dirt. His body is screaming with fatigue, hitting 81 out of 100. But hey, the stats leveled up. Clearing stage 6 rained sweet viewer donations right into his pocket. He is sitting on 20,000 credits. That is halfway to upgrading his ridiculously named Greed Bet skill. More importantly, he secured the giant slaying cheat code, a legendary lightning spear that left the chat totally clueless. It is a one-time nuke. Honestly, you normally would not sniff this kind of loot until the 8th floor. Subaru pockets the shiny toy. Legendary gear can be super moody depending on the user's conditions. Time to step outside and swat some giants. Meanwhile, down at the village, things are going terribly wrong. The knights are staring at a literal walking skyscraper. The true boss giant has breached the chat. King Grog unleashes a deafening roar. One knight instantly nopes out of there, leaving Pellis totally dumbfounded. The crying kid babbles about how they severely underestimated the sheer thickness of this absolute unit. He literally hugs the monster's toes, begging a towering boss for mercy. Classic newbie mistake. Grog is just deeply offended that a snack is talking back to him. Dale rushes in for the ultimate rescue. He screams at them to run. Sadly, his heroic pose took way too long. The blonde knight yells out. Squish Grog stomps them flat into human pancakes. Pellis watches his fighting spirit literally evaporate. No escape, no victory. They are trapped like clueless chickens. Pellis is terrified, but suddenly, panic turns into petty rage. He screams that he knows who killed the giant's precious son. That gets aggro. Grog stops and demands the location. Shaking like a leaf, the blonde points his sword toward the hills. He completely throws Subaru under the bus. He points to the wrong area, but Grog is not a total idiot. The giant glares at him. Is the killer really there, or is this puny human just spitting absolute garbage? Grog prepares to flatten him for lying. But suddenly, boom. A massive lightning bolt smashes into the mountain. That flashy entrance grabs the boss's aggro perfectly. Everyone stares completely stunned by the insane light show. It is obnoxiously huge. Even Pelis guesses it is the crazy streamer boy. Up on the towering peak, our main character casually triggers stage 7, lightning. The final test. Because if anything scarier spawned here, the second floor would literally crash. Subaru just grins, absolutely fearless, in the face of certain death. Why overthink it? He plans to one-shot this oversized gorilla. Sure, Grog has way better base stats. So a preemptive strike is mandatory. Subaru confidently hits the switch on his overpowered lightning spear. The sheer energy literally hacks the weather. The sky turns violently red with terrifying black thunder. And that is just 10% power. Fatigue is skyrocketing, but the badass weapon solidifies in his grip. At 33%, a dark lightning bolt fully shapes up. Sadly, his greedy gamble skill is useless here. It cannot block the massive recoil. Subaru realizes his level is way too low for this legendary hardware. Fatigue slams into 88 with just 50% activation. Suddenly, he notices the angry gaze. The boss spotted him. Well, obviously. You cannot summon a magical thunderstorm quietly, dude. Grog completely ignores the lying knight. Those flashy bolts scream main character energy and Sunkiller vibes. Pellis yells trying to regain aggro, but the boss left him on read. Not that it mattered anyway. Because the village is still swarming with mini giants, Grog locks his furious eyes purely on the mountain. Thinking about his son's defeat, the boss rages. He sprints like a maniac, roaring his bloody revenge. He promises to make the streamer suffer. Trees get bulldozed as the giant plows straight up the cliff. Subaru hits 88% charge. It is a total gamble. If he whiffs this throw, it is instant game over. So he locks onto the target like an aimbot. He remembers a golden tip from an old gaming buddy. Never let the shiny effects distract you. Just throw it dead straight and empty your brain of garbage. The key is the perfect spear form. Time to show this overgrown monkey what a pro gamer looks like. Way different from basic spear throwers. He was the boss of the Blue Eyes. With 95.2% of his skill charged, Subaru sweated bullets. But then a genius piece of advice echoed in his mind. If a normal throw wouldn't cut it, why not just blow it up in his face? As the ugly beast closed in, the live chat went absolutely berserk. Throw it. Already they spammed in pure panic. But Subaru, he played the waiting game. He needed the absolute perfect terrifying second. The monster scaled the mountain, eventually launching its massive body straight at our hero. It crashed down right on top of him. Subaru locked his eyes on the target. 100% charge reached. This was his one and only shot. I have to land this, do or die. Blazing lightning scorched his arm, crackling with overwhelming destructive energy. He unleashed the strike when the giant was mere inches from his face. Grog didn't even have a split second to dodge. Boom. Right in the forehead. The giant dropped like a rock, instantly detonating into a magnificent burst of blinding lightning. While turning into crispy bacon, Grog dramatically screamed his son's name before fading to ash. Back in the real world, the chat was collectively losing their minds. Stage 7 cleared. A sweet wave of level-ups washed over our main character. Plus, he scored an epic drop called the Heart of Thunder. Subaru blinked, confused, but the item abruptly burst into blinding light. Flashbang out of nowhere. Suddenly, he woke up in a super sketchy, unknown dimension. Looming right in front of him was the massive shadow of a giant. He tried to scream, but his vocal cords were completely muted. And even worse, he was entirely paralyzed. Creepier still, a whole squad of nameless shadows spawned around him, staring directly into his soul. They were trying to send him a cryptic message, but his hand suddenly glowed, blasting him right out of that spooky void. Back on the rocky peak, a system window chimed. The main quest had finally officially kicked off for our hero. It told him to go play detective in the village, using his new Heart of Thunder. Was that Shadow Realm real, or just a glitch? Who knows? Anyway, he nervously apologized to the chat for zoning out. Then he rushed straight to the absolute best part, loot time. He eagerly collected his hard-earned cash, securing a juicy 40,000 credits. But right at that moment, our sly hero faked a yawn, pretended to be exhausted, and abruptly ended the stream, later at a cozy tavern in the starter city. He asked Hatsuka if cliffhangering his viewers was a bad move. She gave a massive thumbs up, and casually dropped a bomb. He had hit over 3,000 viewers. Subaru's jaw hit the floor. He was so busy surviving, he completely missed his sudden fame. Hatsuka beamed, saying those numbers were insane for a rookie. And our streamer boy realized that ending on a cliffhanger was the ultimate bait to keep them crawling back for more. He then surprised his manager with a super wholesome idea. He wanted to unbox his rewards live on stream to keep it real. Hatsuka smiled, realizing this newbie actually had streamer blood in him. Impressed, she announced she had a little present for him. An offer so ridiculously good, he'd be absolutely crazy to say no. She told him to look up a famous streamer named Hawkeyes. Subaru nodded and pulled up the stream. And hilariously enough, the guy was live right now, and his clickbait title was literally a wild conspiracy theory about whether our main character was a clone of Subaru or the actual original legend. Turns out, while our boy was fighting for his life, this guy was issuing challenges. Hawkeyes nervously cleared his throat, admitting he had some serious explaining to do. He straight up declared to his entire audience that the mysterious newbie was definitely Subaru in disguise. Our hero sweat-dropped, wondering if his manager had planned this whole leak. Suddenly, Hatsuka got super serious. She nervously asked to cross a boundary, knowing it was terribly rude, but doing her manager duties anyway. Taking a very deep breath, she finally asked the golden question. Why exactly did you become a streamer? She was fully convinced he had some noble hidden motive. Subaru paused dramatically. Hatsuka's heart pounded in pure anticipation. Cold hard cash. Literally just the money. Her romantic illusions shattered instantly. Hatsuka wanted to melt into the floor from embarrassment. Blushing furiously, she coughed. Right. Money makes the world go round. Desperate to change the incredibly awkward subject, she aggressively pivoted back to business. She explained that Hawkeye's was a veteran contractor and laid out a genius master business plan. They had mapped out a golden road to stardom for Subaru. Hawkeye's was going to split his profit shares with him, just for doing reaction streams. Easiest money ever, Subaru grinned from ear to ear. Man, this agency only delivers top-tier news. Hatsuka blushed again, pointing out that this was an absurdly generous deal. So the big question remained. Was he going to collab with Hawkeye's? Later strolling home under the night sky, Subaru had a mini identity crisis. Maybe wearing the mask 24/7 was total overkill, and maybe screaming "I love money" was a bit embarrassing. The closer he got to people, the blurrier his secret identity became. What should he hide and what should he share? Well, philosophical crises aside, he immediately dumped his 40,000 credits into leveling up his greed bet skill to level 4. But wait. Now he was broke again with only 120 credits. The grind never stops. As he crashes onto his bed, the upcoming Hawkeye's collab crosses his mind. Speaking of which, he whips out that little flower he swiped from the museum. He figures his partner in crime already caught on. Meanwhile, back at the agency, the manager is burying her furiously blushing face into a pillow. Subaru's casual words seriously short-circuited her brain. Her inner soap opera writer went wild, instantly concluding, this poor noble boy needed cash for a tragically ill relative. That's exactly why she had dramatically yelled out that she wouldn't pry anymore. Honestly, that exact moment, when Subaru smiled and said, only good things had happened. Total critical hit. She punches her mattress, squealing her confession to the void. In her wildly delusional mind, Subaru has officially ascended to the rank of a tragic, self-sacrificing saint. Meanwhile, up on the 7th floor of the tower, a totally ripped dude is sweating it out in a castle. He glares at Hawkeye's livestream, listening to the guy compare our hero to the legendary past Subaru. And oh boy, this meathead is not a fan of the comparison. He doesn't even know who this streamer clown is. A minion pipes up, explaining it's a rookie pulling 8,000 viewers. The Blue Zone warrior scoffs, reminiscing about effortlessly hitting those exact numbers back in his own glory days. Watching the stream's playback, he finally realizes this Subaru kid is the hyped-up freak who supposedly mastered lightning. He grudgingly admits the footwork is impressive. It perfectly mirrors old Sako Shuhei's constant nagging never-break eye contact. When hurling your spear, Amon sighs, remembering how he tried to copy every single move from that blue-eyed lancer. After all, that elite guild was built completely different. But seriously, why does everyone conveniently forget that Subaru wasn't the only absolute monster back then? Plus, their total wipeout was sketchy as hell. Anyway, Hawkeye's keeps yapping, leaving Amon and his lackey totally annoyed. They figure this clickbait streamer is just farming for cheap viral clout. Amon rage quits the television, snapping at his subordinate about why they were even forced to watch this garbage. The lackey sweats bullets, reminding him it was a direct order from the boss. After all, thunder equals the blue eyes. And the blue eyes are the literal founding fathers of the Blue Zone Guild. The lackey whispers their top secret intel. The legendary hero is an absolute loot goblin for money. He rips the tarp off a pallet, revealing 100 solid gold bars. Amon's jaw hits the floor, not because of the insane budget, but because this so-called hero strictly demands cold hard cash. Cutting back to the Thunderpath chaos. The city is a total wreck, and cleanup duty is in full swing. The blonde knight plays medic, handing out potions to the injured. But the second he spots our protagonist strolling back from the boss room, his gloomy face instantly lights up like a loyal puppy. Pelia scolds him, saying they nearly had a heart attack when he passed out. The hero plays it cool, admitting he's still a bit wobbly. His blonde buddy nods with total sympathetic concern. Trying to switch gears, Subaru asks for a quick chat. Pelia insists he needs bed rest first, making Subaru smile. And the livestream chat absolutely loses their minds. The viewers aggressively start shipping them, demanding they just get married already. Safe in his room, our loot goblin inspects his epic drops. Up first, the Heart of Electricity. It massively buffs lightning damage, but his absolute poker face has the chat totally confused. Are you thrilled or disappointed, bro? Give us a sign. Inside, Subaru is throwing a mental parade because this item is ridiculously broken for his build. Suddenly, a gentle knock interrupts him. The blonde knight waltzes in, carrying a fruit basket, fussing over his recovery like a deeply worried housewife. Skipping the romantic fruit date, they get straight to business. Subaru leans in, asking if the old fairy tales are actually real. The blonde nods solemnly, officially thanking his savior. That's when Subaru casually drops the bomb he looted something off the boss corpse. He whips out the Heart of Thunder, and the blonde knight absolutely jumps out of his armor in pure terror. Subaru raises an eyebrow asking if he recognizes it. Pelia loudly denies it, which is the most blatantly obvious lie ever told. Sweating buckets, Pilu stammers that legends are usually just exaggerated bedtime stories. But two specific myths actually stand out. Myth 1, a destined thunder wielder would appear to smack down the giant boss, exactly like our boy just did. Myth 2, a super ancient mythical war where gods and giants played a deadly game of tug-of-war with lightning itself. It was a legendary beatdown where the giants got completely wrecked. This means the protagonist's shiny new Heart of Thunder isn't a natural drop. Some madman actually crafted it. The creator is off the historical records, but their ultimate goal is crystal clear. Pelia drops the massive lore bomb. It's a cheat code for humans to wield lightning, the ultimate equalizer to brawl against gods and giants. The blonde firmly believes this magical rock is humanity's only way to level the playing field, right as storytime ends. A system chime rings out. Thunder path cleared. He bags 17,000 achievement points and his thunder skill hits level 3. Subaru suddenly glows like a human disco ball, throwing Pelia into full-blown panic mode. In a flash, he gets forcefully teleported away. Welcome to floor 3, Ordinarl. Our guy spawns in through a flashy warp gate. The local players spot the hero, but immediately roll their eyes at his ridiculous Nurukami mask. Meanwhile, Hatsuka drops a cool 1,000 credits hyping up our boy. But he totally ignores the donation. Why? A sudden flashback hits him hard. Back when he first stepped onto this floor, he bumped into Rina. She was awkwardly pouting after losing her entire party. Desperate, she asked if he had spotted anyone as stupidly tall as him. Our hero, pointing casually to a random corner, lied that they definitely went that way. Rina bolted like a pure idiot, but literally 2 steps later, she was hopelessly lost again. Taking pity on this absolute klutz, our guy offered to team up and find her missing friends. Rina practically glowed with joy. Honestly, he just had absolutely zero better things to do. They swapped names in a classic meet cute. But hitting the present, the guilt kicks in. If he had just ignored her, maybe she would still be breathing today. The chat demands to know his mood, but the guilt is choking him out. Dodging the feels, he abruptly announces a collab with the Hawkeyes and cuts the feed. Later, at a fancy diner on floor 3, a VIP crashes his table. Apologizing for the lag, Mr. John himself shows up instead of Hatsuka. Fast travel is painfully slow unless the system carries you. Brushing off the commute, he flexes his title as the big boss of the entertainment agency. Our hero casually nods, having heard the gossip from the manager. Normally the boss dumps this boring work on Hatsuka, but he needed to see our boy in the flesh. Why? Because he is the second guy to ever make that girl fangirl so hard. The first, obviously, was the legendary blue-eyed Subaru. John chuckles, noting the girl has absurdly high standards for men. Then shifting gears, the boss drops a juicy question. Is our hero interested in the Blue Eyes Guild? Boom. The hero violently flinches. Seeing that massive reaction, the blonde boss grins. That reaction right there. That is exactly why he came. But the real kicker, in 5 days, a floor 3 tournament drops a very specific grand prize. When our boy sees the loot on screen, his blood boils. Meanwhile, right after the hero cut his live stream, the very much alive Rina pouted that it ended too fast. Bored out of her mind, she wandered into the woods near their secret cabin. Stumbling upon Sugar, she casually asked if the job was done. Sugar gave a dry nod. When Rina asks what is holding her up, Sugar points ahead. A bunch of fully armed assassins are completely frozen in ice. Sugar is scratching her head, debating whether to shatter them or spare them. Rina, zero hesitation, votes for instant murder. Sugar hesitates. If Kazuki sent them, he would not use such pathetic trash mobs. But letting these creeps thaw out is a huge security risk. Rina absolutely hates the idea of getting doxxed by these low-level losers. So flashing a wicked grin, she summons massive earth blades from the dirt and aligns them like a firing squad. Sugar screams at her to chill out, but Rina has exactly zero chill. Bam. She launches the blades instantly, blending the frozen assassins into bloody snow cones. Nothing but ice chunks remain. Rina dusts off her hands, stating you never return to sender when it comes to assassins. She then scolds her friend for overthinking it, demanding she act more ruthless. Suddenly, a system ping interrupts the bloodbath. Shigur checks her player kit and Rina peeks over. Her jaw drops, and then pure, unadulterated rage kicks in. They are both pissed, but Rina is ready to riot. The tournament prize Toshiya's personal shoes. Shigur quickly plays damage control, warning it is a glaringly obvious bait. Someone knows they are not dead yet. Still, they cannot just sit on their hands. Rina nods, completely agreeing with the logic. Shigur admits she sucks at stealth missions, but notes Rina is a ninja. Rina smirks, telling her friend to shut up because a flawless heist plan is already brewing. But Shigur physically yanks her back. She refuses to let this hothead rush in blindly. The real big brain play. Let the tournament end. and just mug the winner. Jumping back to our hero and John, the item that ruined his mood was those exact same shoes. John assumed it would hype him up, and oh boy, the hero was interested all right. He wanted them so badly he could kill, just not for the fanboy reasons, the boss thought. John awkwardly notes it all depends on his tournament rank. The boss pitches a genius idea, milk his fake fanboy status for epic content by hunting the shoes. Meanwhile, our hero is just internally screaming at the sheer audacity of using Toshia's gear as a cheap prize. John nervously sweats, completely confused by the lethal aura leaking from the boy. Masking his rage, the hero smoothly agrees to the content strategy, making the boss sigh in relief. Slamming his hands on the table, our guy stands up ready to snatch, gear checked and ready. John yells his lungs out, cheering from the sidelines, but Subaru completely tunes him out. His mind is laser-focused, obsessing over securing that loot at any cost. Back in his room, our protagonist paces around, wondering what twisted nightmare this tournament is going to be. He prays to the system for a solo event, though knowing his absolute garbage luck, he cannot be too picky. Suddenly, a timid knock echoes through the door. Enter Hatsuka, the world's most nervous manager. Subaru scrambles to slap his mask on. She is dressed to kill, but blushing like a ripe tomato as usual. The only catch, our masked weirdo stares blankly. He casually invites her inside, and poor Hatsuka looks ready to spontaneously combust from pure panic. But our dense main character just shrugs. Why stand in the hallway to talk? Defeated, she steps in her face, completely crimson. Looking around, Hatsuka notices his room screams zero personality. Bare minimum aesthetic. The awkward silence makes her want to melt. Meanwhile, Subaru is sweating bullets over her monstrous monopool. Seriously, she is way too overpowered for a desk job. She nervously asks if there is dirt on her face, but he quickly waves it off and steers the chat straight to the tournament. Flustered, she fumbles with her paperwork. The grand reveal. A chaotic battle royale. Total free-for-all mayhem for the ultimate prize. Exactly the solo survival madness our boy was hoping for. Hatsuka drops the details. Virtual exam arena, level 3 requirement, and a steep 1,000 credit entry fee. Luckily, the super manager already forwarded the rulebook, so our hero knows exactly what to prep. He gives her a massive thanks, though she humbly deflects. But wait, she nervously asks if he checked his inbox. Apparently, some big shots came knocking from the notorious Blue Zone Guild. Hearing that name, Subaru instantly remembers the absolute trash fire named Kyojo Kazuki. Hatsuka explains they want an exclusive sit-down. They even emailed corporate Matic. Those snakes are definitely aiming to lure him in with fat stacks of cash. But Hatsuka nearly drops her jaw when Subaru goes, "Just leave them on red." The guy has zero interest in joining their toxic guild. Hearing this, Hatsuka internally throws a massive party. She actually thought he was going to ditch her for the big leagues. With the crisis averted, she happily cheers him on for the Hokwai collab, and skips out of the room like she won the lottery. Subaru nods in respect, praising her pure work ethic, completely blind to her actual mega crush on him. Fast forward to the dazzling live stage. The President and Hawkeye are hyped and ready. Today's legendary content. A brutal stat check. The original system record versus our current masked Subaru. Hawkeye smells pure viral gold, but John sweats nervously over a potential flop. Still, having witnessed our boy's broken stats firsthand, the streamer bets heavily on his undefeated streak. Everything hinges entirely on whether our masked anomaly decides to try hard. Cue the dramatic entrance. Hatsuka marches in with Subaru trailing right behind. Hawkeye spots his ticket to the trending page and grins. He extends a hand, but Subaru just stares at it, completely zoning out. Hawkeye smoothly covers the awkwardness, and the two officially shake on it. The veteran streamer admits he is fanboying hard over the rookie, but John barks at them to cut the small talk and hit that go live button. Stream begins. Hawkeye welcomes a cozy 1,300 viewers. Suddenly, the counter absolutely shatters, skyrocketing to $12,000. It is terrifyingly awesome. The internet is clearly starved for this exact crossover. Subaru steps into frame, dropping a casual greeting that instantly breaks the chat. Everyone begs for a face reveal. Hawkeye laughs, swearing even they do not know what is under there. Our cheeky hero just smirks behind the mask, claiming he is dangerously handsome. The hype train derails into pure madness, pushing the live numbers even higher. The chat vibes are immaculate. Someone asks the golden question, and Subaru confirms he is single, making Hatsuka sigh in massive relief off camera. Boom. Viewers hit 20,000. Time for the main event. The arena lights flare up like a boss room. Rows of lethal battle droids lock onto their target. Hawkeye hypes the crowd. This gauntlet will expose the rookie's true combat limits. Plus, the ghost of the original Subaru's high score still haunts the leaderboard. Confidently, our hero promises to smash that record. Initiating combat mode, the mechanical beasts awaken with glowing red eyes, launching a synchronized death strike. The live chat is sweating bullets, spamming massive doubts about him surviving, let alone winning. But the adrenaline is peaking. A wild whale appears. 10,000 credits if he scraps 43 bots. But Subaru hesitates because the penalty for losing is a forced face reveal. Panic sets in as the chat starts showering him with more donations. Looks like our boy is trapped. Challenge accepted. Since Hawkeyes is running the stream, he tells the chat to chill out. Everything is falling right into our hero's lap. He tells our boy to focus up. 3 minutes of pure chaos starts now. Instantly, a horde of killer metal jumps Subaru. Sparking up his lightning aura, he fries them instantly. He literally grabs a robot's head and dunks it into the dirt. Chat is absolutely mind-blown that our guy is wrecking them barehanded. But then shing, out comes the demonic blade slicing through 6 bots in a single slash. The chat goes totally feral. But these metal pests just keep spawning. 1 minute down, just like his glory days, he launches himself into the air. Taking the high ground, he charges his cursed blade with raw thunder and slams the earth. Boom! The shockwave sends the whole mob flying into orbit. At the halfway mark, he has wrecked 26 of them. Second place is shaking right now. Chat immediately starts weeping over their lost bets. 13 seconds left on the clock. Subaru hits 41 kills and is still swinging. One more flashy strike makes it 42, but his stamina is burning out. 3 seconds left. Not backing down, our crazy rookie squeezes out every last drop of mana and smashes one final target. The buzzer screams. The giant scoreboard flashes the magic number, 43 kills. A perfect tie with the reigning champion. He just claimed the throne. History was just made, bringing 40,000 screaming viewers into the stream. Hawkeyes literally sprints over, looking like he might pass out from pure hype. The viewers are finally bowing to our hero. Plus, Hawkeyes is suddenly getting major respect for finding this absolute beast. Right as the streamer tries to plug his own channel, boom, Reinhardt drops a massive 10,000 credit bomb. The entire comment section absolutely loses its collective mind. Hawkeyes stutters like a broken record, trying to thank a top-tier ranker. Subaru squints, recognizing the name. Then another giant donation hits. The big shot claims he is a huge fan of our hero. Reading this, Subaru sweats, thinking his terrifying dad definitely sent a spy. But then Reinhardt drops the ultimate question. "Wanna do a collab?" Dead silence. You could hear a pin drop. His buddies frantically wave their arms, begging him to say yes. But Subaru just casually says, "Nah, I am busy leveling up." Everyone practically has a stroke. Rejecting a god-tier ranker, unfazed Subaru tells his friends to mop up the arena and just struts away like a total boss. His friends chase after him crying. They scream that ignoring a VIP invite is basically a gaming sin. But our boy shrugs and delivers the coldest line ever. "If it is that big of a deal, I will just become a ranker myself." Crickets chirp. Awkward. Hawkeyes jumps in, promising to send the cash prize. But the streamer has one burning question. He narrows his eyes, noticing Subaru was totally holding back his true power. Busted. Subaru smirks, surprised the guy actually caught on. Since he is cornered, he spills the tea. Breaking the record completely would ruin the fun. His actual goal was just farming subscribers. Winning too easily kills the hype. But losing, that would make him look like a total clown. So our Galaxy Brain protagonist calculated the exact mathematical tie to keep the drama spicy but safe. Mind blown. Hawkeyes gasps and asks, the million-dollar question, could he have actually shattered the record? Subaru just hits them with a cryptic smile. The score is settled, and keeping his true power, a mystery, is way funnier. Meanwhile, cut to the rejected ranker. He is throwing a massive tantrum, smashing his expensive desk. This is Reinhardt, rank 121, and boss of the Golden Lion Guild. As the stream ends, a poor lackey creeps into the room, shaking like a leaf. The blonde villain barks that some annoying rookie just bruised his fragile ego. How dare a nobody reject his royal invite? His master plan was to absolutely embarrass the kid on livestream. Reinhardt does not care about the 10,000 wasted credits. He is just salty about his ruined pride. The terrified minion quickly hands over his boss's gear. Then Blondzilla demands an update on his secret mission. They are still hunting for Isaac, but that guy ghosted them days ago. Hearing this, the furious ranker snaps. He grabs the poor minion by the throat, hoisting him into the air like a rag doll. He growls, asking if everyone is trying to make him look like a joke. The minion is literally seeing stars until the big boss finally chucks him into the wall. The poor guy crashes down, taking massive damage. But Reinhardt just glares, daring him to cry about it. Talk about toxic bosses. The poor guy was begging on his knees. Anyway, cut to the next morning. Hatsuka calls the big boss, sounding completely drained. When he picks up, she just mumbles a lifeless, "Good morning." John instantly explodes. He starts roasting her through the phone because she sounds like a walking zombie, unable to hide her total lack of energy for an actual important business chat. John keeps yapping away, but our girl completely ignores his rant and quickly pivots to the Reinhardt collab. Do we really have to do this? She sighs. But the boss man is not backing down. His stance is crystal clear. Hatsuka needs to reel him in. Honestly, John admits the main character has the perfect greedy mindset of a true player. Click, she straight up hangs up on her boss. Her mind is already made up. She just knows in her gut that this collab will be a golden ticket for our hero. She is determined to win him over. Ding dong. When he answers the door, our protagonist looks totally barefaced. Plot twist, the dude is still wearing that ridiculous mask. Subaru tilts his head, asking if the girl wants a face reveal. Nope, she squeaks, but then starts aggressively babbling like a total fangirl. Seeing her panic, the hero casually asks why the whole world is so obsessed with him. Hatsuka gets real. Maybe it is his trash tier starting stats, or his surprisingly nice personality. But honestly, he was humanity's beacon of hope. She explains that our clueless protagonist probably does not realize this, but during the very first tower climb, it was literal hell. 0 resources, 0 money, just endless nightmare monsters. Surviving a single day was an absolute miracle. But as players pushed higher, they farmed credits. Slowly but surely, humanity upgraded this death trap. Back in the Dark Ages, the legendary players were the ones who proved this nightmare tower could actually be beaten. It became a world they could conquer, and the absolute MVP of that era, Narukami Subaru, because his insane achievements were not just about speeding through floors. He was the madman who proved winning was possible. The hero smirks, asking if the girl is fangirling over him too. Secret, she blushes, claiming she is keeping her feelings hidden, just like his masked face. Anyway, Subaru realizes they are just standing in the hallway and casually invites her inside. Panic mode activated. She turns completely red, stammers that she is running away, and literally bolts. Mission failed. She totally forgot to mention the collab. But honestly, her brain short-circuited because this guy casually invites her into his room every single time. Later on, our hero boots up his stream. Boom. The chat goes wild instantly, spamming massive super chats, begging for collabs. The viewers are practically throwing money at the screen, demanding to know which faction he will join on the infamous third floor. Pay-to-win spoilers, basically. Once the third floor trial kicks off, the system forces you to pick a side. The Ottoman Kingdom or Conrad. This choice is everything, because these two factions absolutely despise each other's guts. Naturally, our hero picks the Conrad faction. Why? Because only 3% of the players are crazy enough to choose it. Cut to the Conrad Mercenary Lounge. The second our protagonist strolls in, every single menacing eyeball locks onto him. The local tough guy, hungry to bully a fresh noob, struts over and deliberately shoulder checks our hero. Big mistake. The bully physically bounces off him like he just rammed into a titanium wall, nearly face-planting into the dirt. The humiliated bully screams, "Watch where you are walking, punk. What is your deal?" But our hero just deadpans. "Buddy, you walked into me. Trigger warning, fragile ego shattered." The angry dude grabs Subaru by the collar, ready to throw hands. Meet Vulture, a guy whose entire personality is bullying E-rank newbies. He loudly brags about being a B-rank badass, but our protagonist could not care less. He casually charges lightning into his foot and launches a devastating kick straight under the guy's chin. Yeet, Vulture blasts off like Team Rocket, crumbling into a pathetic heap. The entire bar goes dead silent. The mocking laughter vanishes, replaced by wide-eyed terror and deep curiosity. But Vulture's lackeys are furious. Like typical mob characters, they gang up to jump our hero. Sadly for them, throwing more trash at a god does absolutely nothing. Subaru effortlessly mops the floor with the entire squad. Cue the slow clap. The guy who was actually impressed steps up to praise Subaru. Name is Raymond. A-rank examiner, he grins, wondering what the heck a supposedly basic hero is doing here. Subaru shrugs it off. Just E-rank things. Here is the catch. The third floor trial requires players to grind mercenary jobs until they scrape together 10,000 points. The brutal reality. A single E-rank garbage quest barely drops 50 points. Players literally rot here for a whole year. Raymond narrows his eyes, sensing that this guy is definitely an otherworldly player. A rare breed indeed. But he firmly states, "No VIP passes here, kid. Especially since I am clocking out." But Subaru. Oh, he has a speedrun strat ready to go. He drops a massive bait, claiming he can make an impossible dream come true. He casually offers to hand the legendary Thunder Cave over to the Conrad faction. Raymond practically spits out his drink, yelling that only insane A-rank legends even dare to step foot there. But our hero knows the lore. This is the ultimate flex of pride between the warring kingdoms. The Thunder Cave is an absolute death zone on the 3rd level. No knight or mercenary has ever survived its depths. It sits right inside a colossal mountain, serving as the ultimate bloody tug-of-war for decades. Clearing that dungeon means unlocking a crucial shortcut through the mountain and securing absolute legendary status. Military advantage. So our main character strikes a deal, give him a shiny rank, and he will sweep the place clean. Raymond sweats bullets, worried this kid might pull a fast one. Honestly, our hero is half tempted to just knock the old guy out if he makes things complicated. Luckily, violence is off the menu today. Raymond caves, agreeing to write that golden recommendation letter. After all, monster raids always need more cannon fodder. He warns our guy to wait 5 days for the raid party. But suddenly, ping, 3 hardcore fans drop 35,000 credits in donations. Solo the whole dungeon. Talk about pressure. Sadly, waiting 5 days completely ruins his tournament schedule. Meanwhile, old man Raymond is losing his absolute mind. He spills the dark truth, revealing how this very cave wiped out half his squad back in the day. He hands over the letter, but our main character drops a massive bomb. No casualties this time, because he is going in completely solo. Raymond screams that this kid has a death wish. The bare minimum to survive is a 20-man army. But Subaru just waves off the panic, smoothly dodging the drama by claiming he hates risking other people's lives. No teammates needed here. Well, at least for now. Meanwhile, chilling on a literal mountain peak, Rena chuckles to herself. This crazy streamer acts exactly like the legendary Subaru. Her eyes are glued to his epic live broadcast. On screen, our boy announces a total ban on boring side quests. Plot twist. He is hitting the pause button on streaming for a bit. Boom, the screen goes black, totally ruining Rena's popcorn time on her hike to floor 3. But honestly, she cracks a massive smile. The real Subaru was exactly this: unpredictable, a total rebel doing whatever he pleased. If her awesome old boss actually streamed, it would look exactly like this. Knowing this wildcard is crashing the upcoming tournament, she figures a little spicy chat is in order, and she is definitely praying he totally fails to grab that item. Fast forward to floor 3, Hatsuka is practically glowing. She cheers that our guy is flawlessly copying Subaru's badass vibe. If he just grinded boring fetch quests, the fans would totally riot. So what is the next big crazy plan? Simple. He is going on a massive hunting spree until the games begin. Time to push his flashy thunder powers to the absolute limit. Gotta see what this current level can handle before he wrecks everyone to protect his buddy's precious loot. Cut to the afternoon. Enter Ginsaki Naoto from the Blue Zone Guild hunting for Subaru. He is completely annoyed about this errand. Thunder powers. Epic clears. Ginsaki could not care less because climbing to this floor is a total pain. But when he busts into the local tavern, surprise, it is President John chilling with a cold pint. They grab a booth, and John smirks, knowing exactly why this corporate suit is sniffing around his star streamer. Ginsaki instantly loses his temper. Where the heck is the main attraction? John calmly takes a sip. The kid is out handling some explosive personal business. Of course, Mr. Blue Zone thinks his fancy guild is the center of the universe. Unbothered, John playfully reminds him about our hero's bold little public declaration. Ginsaki actually wanted a face-to-face to sweeten the bribe. But now, he is convinced this smug old man is totally gatekeeping. Slam. Ginsaki smashes the table like a raging toddler, yelling that John is just hoarding a walking gold mine. He preaches that a massive corporate guild is way better than making silly online videos. Too bad John absolutely rejects that corporate garbage, especially since he knows Ginsaki's nasty habit of poaching popular content creators. Sweating, Ginsaki backpedals, claiming he doesn't want an all-out guild war, but John's eyes go cold. In this house, we protect our creators' freedom first. Trying to act tough, Ginsaki sneers that the old man is playing a foolishly naive game. Bad move. John leans in. Guess what? Some bosses do not easily scare. Boom. A terrifying wave of pure killer aura floods the room. John politely suggests he gets lost. Ginsaki is instantly suffocated by that monstrous power. His knees wobble as he shoots up. He squeaks out a pathetic rant about respect, but John literally could not care less. Humiliated, Ginsaki storms out, promising dramatic corporate revenge. Yet John just laughs at his shaking legs. Fast forward 3 days. Floor 3. The Sky Serpent Nest is about to get completely demolished by our favorite chaotic hero. Ditching his signature mask, he zeroes in on the absolute biggest, baddest snake around. Wham! A single devastating strike rips right through the beast's jaw. The monster shrieks in agony, smoothly drawing his legendary blade. Our guy smirks. Warm-up time is officially over. Let us speedrun this boss. With a crazy burst of speed, He leaps directly onto the beast's mangled snout. Crackle. A blinding, catastrophic thunderstrike completely vaporizes the Sky Serpent boss. Ding. Level up. His stats go absolutely through the roof. Plus, a rare Serpent Fang drops, worth a whopping 10,000 credits. Now sitting at a ridiculous level 35, he grinded 9 whole levels in just 3 days. Absolute beast mode. Suddenly, a light bulb goes off. He totally forgot a massive promise. Oops. Cut to the next morning. Hatsuka beams with pure joy as our guy grabs a seat. He tilts his head. Did she win the lottery or something? She nods eagerly, literally sparkling with excitement. Our hero is just hopelessly confused. Then it hits him. The big streamer collab. He nervously apologizes for his goldfish memory. But luckily, Hatsuka just laughs it off. She rejects it, claiming that is exactly our main character's classic move. But to play fair, she slaps a document down proving who is boss. Boom. A fat paycheck from the Hokai stream, 49,000 credits. Hatsuka smirks, admitting she held it hostage just to force him into a chat. She casually drops that she has a buddy named Shun. A total gambling degenerate really, but a useful one. He runs underground betting pools on who survives or wipes. Safe bets pay peanuts, but hey, easy money. Speaking of gambling, Hatsuka gleefully reveals Subaru's payout is a massive 6.1. Meanwhile, some random guy sits at 1.2, making him the crowd favorite. When our hero raises an eyebrow, she drops the lore. Omar Schneider, a Blue Zone veteran who has been hard stuck on the 3rd floor for 10 whole years, all just to beat the Thunder Cave. Hatsuka giggles, warning that Omar is definitely hunting our clueless hero. After all, Subaru claiming he would solo the cave was basically spitting on Omar's decade of sweaty grinding. Subaru awkwardly points out she is breathing right on his face. Cue the aggressive anime blush. Flustered to the max, she retreats to her chair, ordering him to go prep. Meanwhile, up on the 3rd floor in Ortonarl, 2 horses are zooming with a fancy cart. They have finally arrived to confront the cocky rookie who dared to solo the legendary dungeon. Inside the ride, Omar's guildmates are coping hard. They claim this newbie is just blindly arrogant and beg Captain Schneider to keep his legendary temper in check. Surprisingly, the captain plays it cool. He admits our hero actually has hype. Sure, his career is short, but he wields the thunder element. Still, his loyal fanboys whine that Subaru is nothing compared to the original legend, but the captain shuts down the hater energy. This is not the time for petty jealousy. One lackey hesitantly asks if they should actually respect the kid. Schneider grimly nods. It might just be survival. Yet despite acting like a cool anime mentor, he is visibly sweating bullets. The bald sidekick is terrified because he knows his captain turns into a literal demon when mad. Back to our hero scanning Schneider's stats. Subaru thinks the guy is insane. He only left that zone 5 years ago. An old article even hyped them up as the dungeon clearers. Knowing this lore, Subaru finally gets why this boomer is the crowd favorite. Still, he sends a mental apology to Kazuki. The king is back, and absolutely nothing is stopping his grind. The next day, hitting the local market, a greedy merchant is scamming a poor hunter. He trashes the loot quality and dramatically sighs, offering a pitiful 1,500 credits. He fakes reluctance perfectly, ultimately robbing the clueless guy blind. Classic non-playable character merchant behavior, but then a much smarter customer steps up. When Subaru casually slaps the serpent fang on the counter, the merchant's soul nearly leaves his body. The drop quality is absolute perfection, but a scammer never sleeps, coughing to hide his drool. The shady dealer appraises the godly item as mere B rank. He claims a tiny scratch ruined its S rank potential. What a lie. He even tells our protagonist the market is totally flooded right now. Then with a straight face, this absolute clown offers 8,000 credits, like it is a blessing. Hilariously, Subaru actually thinks that is fair based on outdated prices. But suddenly, Schneider spawns in, loudly declaring it is worth at least 15,000. He brutally exposes the merchant's pathetic fake inventory. And just like that, the 10-year veteran and the cocky rookie finally cross paths. Fast forward to a super bizarre restaurant. The two sit down, dropping the pleasantries. Let's be real, they are not on a cute lunch date. Still, our hero looks around totally baffled that this weird joint is where Schneider actually eats. Finally, the captain brings up the Thunder Dungeon. Unfazed Subaru boldly repeats he will solo the whole thing. Schneider's eye twitches. He snaps that too many rookies hit the 3rd floor acting like untouchable gods. Subaru smirks, asking if he is in that category. The captain grunts a yes, but admits he respects the kid's crazy talent. Still, he refuses to believe this brat equals the original legend. Our protagonist thought he was dealing with a boomer weirdo, but realized this guy has real grit. Cutting the chatter, the captain makes his move. Grinding his teeth, he orders Subaru to retract his statement. Schneider finally explodes, declaring the kid's solo claim was pure disrespect. He offers him one chance go on stream and beg for forgiveness. Naturally, our hero yawns, calling that a garbage deal. Enraged, the captain vows to crush him in the upcoming tournament and personally beat some humility into him. Subaru cheerfully accepts the challenge, but when he wins, the captain must write a massive detailed guide on everything about the dungeon. Homework gross. But Schneider confidently agrees, totally convinced he will stomp this rookie into the dirt. He storms off dramatically, leaving Subaru chuckling at the absolute state of Schneider. He didn't survive 10 years in that hellhole for nothing. Back at Sin Entertainment, Sean literally jumps out of his skin, seeing over 10,000 live viewers. Watching the tournament broadcast, jealousy eats him alive, since clearing the third floor locked him out of the fun. Sure, our main character is his buddy, but Sean figures betting on the captain is the safest gamble. But as a self-proclaimed pro-bettor, he knows following the sheep is a rookie mistake. The hilariously sad part, he is shaking like a leaf, terrified of losing his cash. Right as he tries changing his bet, he fumbles a call and yeets his phone. Panicking that he accidentally dumped his money on Subaru, Sean screams that Hatsuka is spying, but she just deadpans, asking what this idiot is doing. He desperately tries to hide his gambling addiction, but she cuts to the chase, demanding they bet their life savings on Subaru. Sean snaps back that they cannot be that stupidly naive, insisting they analyze the stats first. He yells that Schneider is a way safer bet than her giant crush, but Hatsuka boldly doubles down, betting her entire next month's salary. Suddenly, right mid-argument, a mysterious hooded figure struts by, completely breaking her focus. Without a single warning, she brutally hangs up on her panicked friend, leaving Sean totally bewildered since she never gambles. Meanwhile, strolling through the bustling city center, a grunt asks the captain about our hero's strength. Schneider smirks, admitting the kid is no amateur. The bald lackey freaks out about Schneider losing, which just earns him a death glare. The captain will only know the truth when they clash in the arena. Plus, Schneider's ego is way too massive to even imagine a 0% chance of defeat. High above, on a rooftop, that same hooded figure stalks them. She came to peek at the tournament's top dog. Spoiler alert, it is Rena. She drops a cheeky compliment and waits. Finally, the epic day arrives and massive crowds swarm the Ortonaro Coliseum. Our main character is already lurking near the gladiator gates. Stepping into the blinding light, he is greeted by an absolute ocean of screaming fans. Shockingly, no one knew our boy was competing. They wanted to bet on him for second place, but then the absolute crowd favorite makes his entrance. Spear heavily mounted, the captain steps up as the arena erupts, proving he is the undisputed superstar here. Out of thousands, literally nobody cheers for our hero, only Schneider. Then boom, fireworks explode and a stunning woman elegantly steps forward. Enter Mizuha from the Blue Zone Guild, serving as the ridiculously hyped announcer. She declares the bloodbath will be brutally split into savage qualifiers and main events, with the grand prize waiting at the end. She hypes up the reward: boots crafted by the god Hermes himself, a guild treasure, and the legendary relic of Hibiki Toshiya. With a flashy wave, she summons the glittering boots for the crowd. Seeing this, our hero mentally tells Toshiya to chill, swearing he will snatch those kicks back. Up in the stands, Hatsuka is literally his only fan, praying he starts his stream. Wait, creepy much. That same hooded stalker is sitting right next to her. Just like Hatsuka begged, our boy fires up his live stream right inside the deathmatch. Boom, 3,000 viewers crash the stream in 10 seconds. He nervously laughs off his disappearance, complaining the chat is moving too fast. Hatsuka instantly drops a juicy mission of 30,000 credits for a win. He grins and thanks his soul sugar backer. Suddenly, Mizuha screams, "It is time," blasting even more fireworks to kick off the chaos. Flexing her power, she compresses glowing green mana into a massive sphere in the sky. Snap. She detonates, it raining magical energy down. The glowing green mist swallows the whole arena, leaving the audience screaming in absolute awe. This crazy girl literally turned broad daylight into pitch black with a flick of her wrist. And boom, the nightmare eliminations start in the dark. The brutal system chimes in: die once you are out. The slaughter only ends when just 1,000 survivors remain. Trust no one. Everyone is prey, and the absolute bloodbath begins with 10,000 hungry fighters. Honestly, picking a fight with our overpowered hero right now is pure suicide. But hilariously, right as he plans to lazily save his stamina viewers, spam donations, begging for some aura farming action. Thanks to chat, some poor soul sneaks up behind him. The guy immediately tries to bolt, realizing he messed with the wrong boss. But our hero just sees a giant walking bag of cash. Bam! 1,500 scrubs are wiped out, cutting to the captain's point of view. He completely ignores the trash mobs, his eyes locked on only one target in this massive battle royale. Our hero whoosh, a stray arrow nearly snipes his head off. Some stealthy rat actually tried his luck and missed by inches. But wait, it is not a solo act. The sniper brought his whole mercenary squad. The bald minion suddenly panics, thinking bad idea. But their leader's doing the classic, we outnumber him, math. Big mistake. Schneider just smirks. He gives them a solid 10 for effort but a 0 for target selection. One bald extra rushes in, but before he can even blink, pop his head straight up vanishes. The dude drops dead, and the whole mob instantly loses their minds. Literally, nobody even saw the captain swing that spear. Schneider doesn't care about their panic, though. He's so over these weak mobs. Acting tough. It's time for a violent reality check. With just one casual swipe, boom, another mercenary explodes into pixels. He announces that cheap tricks are pure garbage in this tower. The only thing keeping you breathing is raw power. The enemies absolutely wet themselves. Meanwhile, the captain's total badassery is live streaming to thousands. He slices through half the squad like they're warm butter. Some guys scream at their buddies. Not to run, since it's just a test, but yeah, right, everyone is bolting. Up in the VIP stands, Rina realizes this guy is totally built different. He's pure ranker material. But her epic analysis is totally ruined by the girl beside her. Hatsuka, who is absolutely screaming her lungs out for our boy Rina, takes a nosy peek and spots Subaru's live stream right on the screen. Since she's rocking the exact same mask as our hero, Rina strikes up a chat. Saying she's a massive fangirl, Hatsuka instantly matches her energy, hyped to meet a fellow simp, and immediately asks who the heck this hooded girl is. Down below, survivors drop to 1,300. Chat informs our hero he's bagged 97. Kills already, time's ticking, and he's farming 200 credits per head. Suddenly, a brilliantly stupid idea pops into his crazy brain. Why hunt when you can be the bait? Channeling straight up lightning into his sword, he starts deforesting the entire area. He blasts trees and explodes the ground, basically screaming, "Come get me, nerds," to the whole map. And boy does it work. The captain hears the absolute racket, casually wipes the floor with the last mercenaries, and pulls up on our protagonist. But our hero just grins and hits him with the classic, "No, I found you." In response, Schneider decides it's time to throw hands right here, right now. The chat goes wild. Someone immediately drops a juicy 10,000 credit bounty for the captain's head, and Subaru is more than ready to cash in. With only 202 poor souls left. In the prelims, Schneider launches a spear strike. It misses Subaru entirely, but instantly vaporizes the whole forest behind him. Leaving a crater, Schneider chuckles, saying they have plenty of playtime left. Subaru sweats a little, realizing that absolutely ridiculous. Attack was purely physical muscle. One hit and it's game over. Plus, the range on that spear is basically cheating. From across the map, the captain swings again. Subaru isn't playing around anymore and activates the demon sword to radically buff all his stats. Thanks to the juice, he perfectly parries, slips past the ridiculous shockwave, and aggressively pushes forward, closing the gap. But Schneider dashes in for a speedrun kill. Subaru ducks the crazy thrust, but just as he tries to sneak into his blind spot, a barrage of attacks rains down. Subaru finally deflects with enough force to literally yeet the big guy backward, dragging him through the dirt. They finally separate. Schneider, looking confused, asks why the kid isn't spamming his lightning magic. Our boy just smirks and says, "Why bother? I'm gonna wrap this up right now with just my sword." Schneider finds this level of disrespect absolutely hilarious and roars back, asking if the kid is just stalling for the timer. Not wanting to get robbed by the buzzer, the captain goes for an instant finisher, but Subaru blocks it cold, taunting him with a, "Wow, is that really all you got?" which completely pisses the giant off. But suddenly, ding, survivors drop to exactly 1,000. Prelims are officially over, Schneider furiously tells our hero to hold that thought, and they are yanked into the lobby. The system AI cheerfully announces that they get a nice 30-minute coffee break. Off-camera, Subaru's hands are shaking like crazy from that last parry. He definitely underestimated the big brute. A few days ago, Hatsuka told him that hitting 10,000 concurrent viewers was the golden ticket to being rich. Thanks to fighting Schneider, he's basically hit the streamer jackpot. But honestly, the captain is a serious problem since he can't even clear the room yet. Meanwhile, back at the forest cabin, in broad daylight, Shiger is dying of sheer boredom. He starts complaining loudly about how an absolute monster like Schneider is somehow still camping on floor 3. The lower floors mean the stat gap is basically unfair, and even though Subaru's got shiny lightning powers, raw talent can only carry you so far. And judging by the current broadcast, he doubts our boy will survive. Back in the lobby, Subaru cashes out his loot, burning a spicy 80,000 credits to max out his greed bet. Boomskill jumps to level 5 in rank B, since chat can't see his sneaky level ups. They are dying of curiosity. Way up in the elite stands, Mizuha sits alone, intensely staring at the screen. Tournament prize. She suspected a shady thief was after the legendary shoes, plus she knew his true identity. Bam, a random guy pops up, declaring, "Guild backup is here." Mizuha naturally asks who is bossing this squad around. The dude introduces himself. The girl squints, asking why he's chilling on floor 3, since it's literally just Kurokawa playing hero. Mizuha questions if the guildmaster is mad at Subaru. The guy nods, totally pissed at both him and Schneider. But wait, plot twist, there's a bigger headache lurking right in the stands hiding behind Rina's mask. She's currently sweating buckets over Hatsuka's absolutely terrifying mana pool. She wonders why this overpowered monster is even here. Playing it cool, she rips off her mask and introduces herself as Tom. Hatsuka calmly explains she used polite speech due to the girl's intense aura, completely seeing through her sneaky face-changing magic. Rina is so terrified she assumes this manager is a deadly assassin directly hired by Kazuki. Hatsuka hates drama, but bluntly asks if they are secretly planning to absolutely ruin this tournament. Playing with fire, Rina nervously teases, maybe instantly radiating murderous intent. Hatsuka coldly promises that ruining the event equals instant death. Ding. The system rudely interrupts, announcing the 30-minute break is officially over. Flash. Every single participant gets warped straight to the finals. The system reveals this final round is basically an intense turf war. Mizuwa explains the rules: everyone gets a starting zone, but strictly 2 players per zone. You either defend camp or steal, beat up an enemy, and boom, you snatch their land. Whoever hogs the most turf wins the legendary shoes. With the boring tutorial finally over, she kicks off the chaos by assigning team colors. Exactly as our smart hero predicted, literally nobody attacks first. Why fight now for pennies when camping lets you steal a massive jackpot from one exhausted enemy? Cowardly logic. But our greedy hero instantly rushes out, crushing a dude. His loyal subscribers are paying 300 credits per head. Meanwhile, Captain Schneider also ignores the boring camping meta completely, abandoning caution to aggressively conquer a zone. The neighboring player wets his pants but absolutely cannot outrun that deadly spear. Bam! In seconds, Schneider brutally kicks 10 whole competitors from the server. He prowls the map, hunting for Subaru, until he spots a juicy trail of yellow territories. Amidst this total bloodbath, these 2 absolute menaces completely ignore the weaklings locking eyes with each other. But shockingly, Subaru just turns and struts away. Schneider furiously screams at him, calling the boy a spineless coward. The chat rages to defend their streamer, but Subaru casually smirks, noting he will wreck him later. Gotta farm those donations first. Our hero casually conquers more turf, completely baffled by the pathetic weakness of floor 3 players. Suddenly, a random scrub named Doncho trespasses on his precious lawn. This guy is Schneider's shiny bald minion. Doncho arrogantly brags that the boss will scold him for completely trashing our hero's face. The chat snitches, warning Subaru this cue ball is from the blue zone. Zero hesitation, the bald dude crazily dives at our main character. Subaru pretends to block, then smoothly slides under the strike instantly, slicing the shiny guy's spear in half. Bam! He throws him to the dirt, effortlessly humiliating Doncho. Since respawns exist, he brutally finishes the guy on the spot. Subaru deletes the bald minion so fast the chat assumes the enemy was just trash. Then finally, Schneider violently invades the protagonist's turf. The system warning barely even pops up before the crazy captain charges in like a raging bull. Subaru dodges perfectly. He deflects the massive spear point aimed straight for his skull, parrying it. But the captain furiously swings again. Schneider screams for the boy to use his thunder, yelling that holding back will guarantee his death on the next strike. The protagonist leaps backwards, buying precious breathing room. He casually grips his sword hilt, making an annoyed Schneider mockingly ask if he's fleeing again. But Subaru smirks, promising to serve up exactly what the captain begged for. Blue lightning crackles as he activates the Heart of Thunder, massively boosting his stats. Plus, that overpowered greed bet skill perfectly shields our main character from taking any actual damage. Schneider's jaw drops, the kid is forging a deadly weapon out of pure electricity. Then our glowing hero sarcastically asks, "Still look like I'm running?" The captain silently admits he isn't. Smirking, Subaru drops the ultimate flex, asking if Schneider wants to run away instead. But the stubborn captain, foolishly believing that surviving this blast means victory, yells absolutely not. Flashback. Earlier, the bald guy awkwardly asked his boss a very sensitive question. He asked why the boss was so crazily obsessed with the Thunder Cave, despite being strong enough to leave. Honestly, Schneider himself didn't even know, admitting that battle junkies usually forget the original reason for their wild fixations. Maybe it's just call it pure obsession or wild conviction. The captain knew this battle was his turning point. And honestly, that alone fueled his absolute refusal to yield. Meanwhile, our main character twirls his spear like a boss, making the captain smirk, realizing Subaru is totally his new obsession. He dashes forward for the ultimate strike. Respecting the captain's 10 years of endless grinding, Subaru charges in with zero hesitation. The gap closes and their absolute max power strikes violently collide. Boom. The impact unleashes a crazy explosion, obliterating the arena. But when the dust settles, only our hero's blinding yellow aura dominates the stage. Cut to the stands. The girls suddenly pause, sensing some intense weirdness. Rina narrows, her eyes glaring hard at Hatsuka. But plot twist. Hatsuka casually confesses she is actually Subaru's official manager. Obviously, any tournament drama means bad news for his stream and her paycheck. Cue Rina totally fangirling the moment she realizes who she is dealing with. Hatsuka lights up dramatically, bragging about how hard it was to convince her bosses that she found pure gold. Rina happily admits she is a loyal viewer, and the two instantly vibe. But wait, that massive explosion on the giant screen rudely interrupts them. Hatsuka spins around in pure panic to check on her cash cow. As the crazy smokescreen finally clears, both dudes are miraculously standing. But yikes, Schneider is absolutely wrecked, sporting a massive crater from his legs to his chest. He drops to his knees, utterly defeated. Subaru casually hopes they can rematch someday, and with a whopping 283 captured territories, Narukami Subaru takes the crown. Fireworks explode. The crowd goes absolutely feral. Hatsuka turns to celebrate with her brand new bestie, but Rina looks like she chewed a lemon. She is fuming that this overpowered dude snagged the grand prize. Mizuha grabs the mic, hyping up the crowd and officially declaring Subaru the absolute champion. Then she magically summons the holy grail of loot, those legendary shoes. Rina literally rage quits the stands, storming off without a word. The magic seal shatters. As the loot drops into his hands, Subaru gets hit with 20 years of pure nostalgia. Flashback time. 20 years ago, Toshio was throwing a massive temper tantrum over missing shoes. A classmate called him annoying, totally ignoring the fact that he squeezed his giant feet into Toshio's tiny kicks. Having warned them already, Toshio drop-kicked the thief, making everyone crack up, Subaru included. Back to the stream. The chat begs our mercenary hero to sell the loot for easy cash, but he instantly rejects the idea. Mizuha reminds him he could bag millions, but our guy refuses to budge. Chaos erupts. The crowd starts a massive bidding war, with some crazy fan throwing 4 million credits on the table. Annoyed, our main character flexes by calling down a terrifying lightning bolt from the heavens. Flexing his insane power, he declares he will not sell even for 10 million credits. Having dropped the mic, our hero just turns and casually walks away. Meanwhile, deep in the city, Ammon and his gaming buddy just witnessed the whole live broadcast. Ammon is utterly speechless about this ridiculous victory. Hanamaki Hiyori predicts this dude might actually replace the real Subaru, especially since the internet already thinks the newbie is way better. Hanamaki brings up the spicy online comparisons, but Ammon smells a massive conspiracy driving the hype. Hanamaki admits even she thought they were the exact same guy. Ammon aggressively disagrees, making her secretly label him a total fanboy. Changing the subject, she asks if he is hyped for the upcoming chaos. Ammon gives a cold no. They have a serious job to do. Hunt down whoever is stupid enough to steal those shoes. Walking away with peak edgy anime boy energy, Ammon leaves her pouting in the shadows. Jumping back to the legendary livestream, the chat is literally foaming at the mouth over those sneakers. Subaru is just happy holding his old friend's relic again. Snapping out of it, he smoothly thanks his viewers for the massive tips. The epic shoes are called Teleria. They buff speed by 25% and jump by 15%. The chat debates the stats. Suddenly, a private DM drops. Hatsuka urgently warns our hero about a highly suspicious stalker incoming. Rina finally realizes lurking around the legendary loot makes her look super sketchy. She hated doing this, but desperate times call for desperate measures. Waiting for the perfect blind spot, she prepares to ruthlessly slice our protagonist's ankles. Will she survive the attempt? Find out next time. Dropkick that notification bell and see you next chapter on Tobs.